Chapter 177. After she parked the car, he sat in the car for a long time before he could barely move. But as soon as he got out of the car, he only managed to utter 2 words before he vomited. This is too scary. How is this a woman? She's clearly a bully. I'm only a woman when I'm with her. Upon seeing Xia Shangzhou, Lin Jiej was taken aback for a moment before asking, "Why are you in my sister's car?" Lin Jai replied with an "oh" before replying calmly, "I was the one who brought him here. I went back home first, but seeing that you weren't home, I went to the academy. He showed me the real-time location you sent him, so I mistook him as a navigator and stuffed him into the car." Xia Shangzhou, who was vomiting silently against the wall, could vaguely hear the sound of his heart shattering. Navigator? Is the navigator referring to me? Having roughly understood the situation, Lin Jiej fell silent. Lin Jai glanced at the 2-seater sports car and asked, "Did you drive?" "I did." Lin Jiej paused for a moment before adding, "Grandpa's car is in the parking lot." "All right then. I won't give the car to you, and Yao Yao then." Lin Jai lowered her head to take a look at the time. Disregarding the opinions of others, she made up her mind and said, "Let's meet at home in half an hour then." After saying those words, Lin Jai flashed Shi Yao a gentle smile and said, "Yao Yao, it's your birthday today, so I specially came back to give you a surprise. The present is at home. I'll bring it to you later." "Shi Yao. Thank you, Sis Jai." Moi. Lin Jai sent Shi Yao a flying kiss. "If you want to talk properly. Don't just kiss me." "Who wants to kiss you?" Lin Jiej's eyes immediately turned cold. He took a step forward to stand between Shi Yao and Lin Jai and said, "We'll be heading over first then?" Lin Jai nodded and said, "Go on." "Let's go," Lin Jiej said softly to Shi Yao before waiting for her to turn around and leave. Only then did he take a step forward and follow behind Shi Yao like a human wall between her and Lin Jai. Seeing that Lin Jiej was about to leave, Xia Shangzhou quickly suppressed the urge to vomit and chased after Shi Yao and Lin Jiej. "Boss, wait for me. I'll go with you." "Leave your sister, leave." Lin Jai raised her leg and tripped Xia Shangzhou. Just as he was about to fall to the ground, she grabbed his arm and flung him onto her car. "They're just a couple, so why are you getting involved in their affairs? Do you like being a third wheel that much? Take my car." Xia Shangzhou's legs went limp when he heard this, and he almost fell to his knees. No. Lin, Sister Lin, there's no need for that. I'll take a taxi myself. I have money." Lin Jai replied passionately, "How could I possibly do that? I brought you here, so I have to bring you back. You're Jiej's roommate too, so in order to express my gratitude, I'd like to invite you over to our place as a guest." "No, there's no need." "Boss will invite me." "What do you mean? Are you looking down on me?" No. Let me tell you, I am the boss of your boss. I really don't look down on you. I think very highly of you. Cut the crap and get in the car." 15 minutes later, Lin Jai slammed on the brakes and parked the car in the courtyard. 20 minutes later, Lin Jiej's car finally drove into the Lin family residence. It wasn't until the car came to a stop that Lin Jiej and Shi Yao got out of the car one after another did Xia Shangzhou finally managed to stand up with a pale face. Chapter 178. Lin Jiej looked at Xia Shangzhou with a bizarre gaze as he thought, "Is there something wrong with your head? Why are you standing around in the courtyard like a fool instead of entering the house?" At the same time, he casually asked, "Where's my sis?" Xia Shangzhou pointed to the brightly lit interior and replied, "She went in." Lin Jiej replied with an before leading Shi Yao and Xia Shangzhou into the house. He pushed open the door and changed his shoes, but before he could enter the living room, Lin Jai's voice suddenly sounded, "Yao Yao, are you here yet? Yao Yao, hurry over and take a look at the present I bought for you. Do you like it?" "I'm coming, Sis Jai," Shi Yao replied as she hastened her footsteps. But when she saw the scene in the living room, she suddenly froze on the spot. Lin Jiej shot a perplexed glance at Shi Yao before turning his gaze to the living room. Under Lin Jai's instructions, the maids in the house were placing the items that she had bought on the floor. Bags, shoes, clothes, accessories, lipsticks. What was bizarre wasn't that she had bought a lot of every single item. What was bizarre was that she had actually bought a lot of the same item, and the only difference was the color. At this moment, Xia Shangzhou, who was walking at the very back of the group, had also caught sight of this sight. His eyes and mouth widened in shock for a moment before he stealthily leaned over to Lin Jiej's ear and asked, "Boss, did your sis move the entire shopping mall into her house?" Before Lin Jiej could say anything, the sharp-eared Lin Jie had already heard Xia Shangzhou's words. She turned to him and asked, "Is there a problem?" "And no problem at all. Sis Lin, you're amazing. Even the things you buy are so unique." Without any hesitation, Xia Shangzhou raised his thumb and praised Lin Jie. Lin Jie seemed to be very satisfied with Xia Shangzhou's answer, so she explained to him generously, "It's mainly because I don't know what our Yao Yao's taste is right now. So, I bought everything that I thought looked good in every color so that our Yao Yao could choose what she likes the most." As she spoke, Lin Jie walked up to Shi Yao and grabbed her hand. "Yao Yao, there's no need to stand on ceremony. Feel free to pick whatever you like. As for the rest, I'll keep them for myself." So, was he buying a gift for himself, or was he buying a gift for Softbun? Lin Jiej couldn't be bothered to expose Lin Jie, so he walked around the pile of things that Lin Jie had placed on the floor and made his way to the sofa in the living room. From time to time, he would glance at Lin Jie's hand that was holding on to Shi Yao's. How long had he been holding on to her? Why didn't he let go? "Yao Yao, you should choose more. I might have bought too many things, so it's hard for me to digest them all." As Lin Jie spoke, she began pointing to the items on the floor, asking Shi Yao if she liked them. "Heh, it seems like you do have some self-awareness. You know that you've bought too much?" Lin Jiej mocked Lin Jie, but seeing that she still wasn't willing to let go of Shi Yao's hand, he casually said, "Why are you holding her hand like that? Are you trying to let her choose, or are you trying to stop her from choosing?" Lin Jie let go of Shi Yao's hand and said, "You can take your time picking then. I'll go get a cup of water first." Shi Yao picked a few items that she liked before thanking Lin Jie. Lin Jie didn't force Shi Yao to continue picking. Instead, she shot a glance at the servants by the side, gesturing for them to move all the items on the floor to her changing room. When they were almost done, Shi Yao suddenly recalled something and ran out of the room. Soon, she returned with a bag in one hand and a bouquet of flowers in the other. Chapter 179. Soon, she returned with a bag in one hand and a bouquet of flowers in the other. Lin Jiej was in the middle of talking to Xia Shangzhou when Shi Yao walked in and out of the room. He shot a glance at her, but he didn't pay much attention to her. Lin Jie was worried about the maid's discerning eyes, so while she didn't make a move herself, she still went upstairs to give them instructions. After returning to her room, Shi Yao didn't rush to look for Lin Jie. Instead, she placed the things she had taken from the car on the coffee table before sitting down once more. Picking up her fork, she continued eating the fruit platter that the maids had just brought over. Upstairs, Lin Jie's bedroom door was open, and her elegant yet forceful voice drifted down the stairs. "Put this here, and put that there. Have you ever learned how to appreciate aesthetics? Putting bright red and bright green together is just too unsightly, you know? I can't fit all these lipsticks on the dressing table. Think of something. Didn't I buy a lot of storage boxes and store them in the basement? Bring them up, it'll save some space." All right, that's it." Downstairs, Xia Shangzhou's mouth didn't stop moving either, but his voice wasn't as loud as Lin Jie's. "Boss, your sister sure is an incredible woman. She single-handedly defeated an entire group of people. Boss, I think your sister is much scarier than you. I finally understand the saying, there's always someone better than you out there. Boss, tell me the truth. Since you were young, were you protected by your sister? Did she beat you up often? I'm starting to pity you now. Boss, what should we do?" Shi Yao was in the midst of eating when she heard Xia Shangzhou's words. She raised her head to look at Lin Jiej curiously. Meeting Shi Yao's gaze, Lin Jiej, who had been silent all this while, suddenly spoke up. "You must be joking. Do I need her protection? Let me tell you, she might look tough, but all she does is beat up those hooligans. To fight with me, he." Shi Yao stuffed a cherry into her mouth as she stared at Lin Jiej in disbelief. Xia Shangzhou assessed Lin Jiej from head to toe with the same look of disbelief on his face. "Boss, there should be a bottom line when it comes to bragging. Bottom line your head. I'm just speaking the truth, all right? But the problem is, it's one thing for Xia Shangzhou to doubt me, But what's with Soft Bun's gaze? He was only doing this to protect her. Lin Jiej couldn't be bothered to argue with them anymore. So he cut straight to the chase and said, "Just you wait. When she comes down from upstairs, watch how I'll take her down." "Who? Let me do it. Let me do it." Lin Jiai, who was halfway down the stairs, heard the latter half of Lin Jiej's words, and she immediately rushed over excitedly to the living room. She looked at Shi Yao and thought that it was impossible. If Lin Jiej dared to knock Yao Yao down, she would smack him to death with her frying pan. After which, she turned to Lin Jiej and also thought that it was impossible. After all, no one would be so foolish as to knock themselves down. Finally, she turned to Xia Shangzhou and asked, "Navigator, am I supposed to knock you down?" "Come." "No, no, no. Sister Lin, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. Boss said that the person he wanted to take down was you. It was Boss who wanted to take down you," Xia Shangzhou explained as he ran. Chapter 180. Lin Jiej raised his eyebrows. While his words were directed at Lin Jiai, his gaze was directed at Shi Yao as he asked, "Are you afraid?" "Lin Jiai. Me? Afraid? Let me tell you, Lin Jiej, if not for my grandfather forbidding me from learning Taekwondo when I was 6, telling me that girls should be dignified and ladylike, I would have beaten you up 3 times right now." Lin Jiej's lips curled up. Had it been in the past, he wouldn't have exposed her, but today was different. He couldn't let Soft Bun think that he was incapable. With such thoughts in mind, Lin Jiej harumphed coldly, "Did my grandfather forbid you from learning Taekwondo because he wanted you to be ladylike? You walked up to the blackboard and said, 'Hello everyone, my name is Lin Jiai, and my specialty is Taekwondo.' Then, you raised your leg and split the teacher's desk in half, scaring the entire classroom into tears. For half a month, no one dared to speak to you. Grandpa was afraid that you would develop autism, so he didn't allow you to learn Taekwondo." Lin Jiai grabbed a pillow and threw it at Lin Jiej. "Will you die if you don't speak?" On the other hand, Lin Jiej calmly leaned back, dodging the pillow that was flying toward him. Following which, the pillow that flew past him landed squarely on Xia Shangzhou's face. Lin Jiai replied without the slightest hint of apology, "I'm sorry, GPS." Xia Shangzhou rubbed his aching nose, not daring to voice his grievance. It's fine, sis Lin." Upon seeing this sight, Shi Yao shot Xia Shangzhou, "I'll pity you for a second look." A second later, she lowered her head and focused her attention on eating her fruit platter. It was only after she finished the fruit platter that she suddenly recalled the matter at hand. She called out, "Sis Jiai." She stood up, picked up the fresh flowers on the table, and passed them over to Lin Jiai. "This is for you." Lin Jiai's eyes lit up, and a rare gentleness appeared on her face. "Yao Yao, is this the present you prepared for me? But how did you know that I would come back today? I really like it. These flowers are really beautiful." "That's not it, Sis Jiai. I didn't give this to you." Shi Yao hurriedly shook her head and explained, "It's a gift from Lin Jiej." "Oh, is that so?" Lin Jiai, who had been brimming with warmth a second ago, suddenly turned cold upon hearing that the gift was bought by Lin Jiej. However, since it was Shi Yao who had passed it to her, she still took it. "Sis Jiai, there's also this." Shi Yao picked up the jewelry bag and passed it over to Lin Jiai. Then, she continued, "This is also a gift that Lin Jiej prepared for you. He said that you received a big project some time ago, so he specially prepared this to congratulate you. He wanted to send it over by air, but your call didn't go through. Give me a call?" Lin Jiai asked doubtfully. She did turn off her phone after returning to the country, but she didn't see any missed calls when she got off the plane. Lin Jiai was just about to continue speaking when Lin Jiej, who had been perfectly fine a second ago, suddenly let out a stifled groan before bending over with a pained look on his face. Xia Shangzhou, who was seated beside Lin Jiej, immediately panicked upon seeing his reaction. Boss, what's wrong?" Chapter 181. Noticing Lin Jiai's reaction, Shi Yao immediately ran over to Lin Jiej's side and asked, "What's wrong? Are you hurt somewhere?" Seeing that Lin Jiej was in even more pain than before, Shi Yao's tone turned anxious as she said, "Why don't we go to the hospital and get an X-ray or something?" Xia Shangzhou was also intimidated. "That's right, boss, let's go to the hospital." Little Junior is right. Lin Jiej raised his hand with great difficulty and very slowly waved it twice, indicating that there was no need for that. Standing not too far away, Lin Jiai, who was watching this scene calmly, saw Lin Jiej's reaction, and her lips curled up into a cold sneer. Then, while cursing in her heart, she said, "Navigator, help him upstairs. Little Yang, where's the ointment at home? Give it to me." Shortly after Lin Jai said those words, a maid ran out and reported, "Young miss, we've run out of the ointment." Shi Yao replied, "I'll go buy it." "No, it's already so late." Lin Jai rejected Shi Yao's suggestion without any hesitation. Xia Shangzhou raised his hand and said, "Big sis Lin, I'll accompany Little Junior." Lin Jai instinctively wanted to reject him, but as the words reached the tip of her tongue, she seemed to have thought of something and nodded. "All right, you accompany Yao Yao." After which, Lin Jai turned to the maid she had called out and said, "Help him upstairs." After Shi Yao and Xia Shangzhou left, Lin Jai carried the bouquet of flowers and accessories Shi Yao had given her and headed upstairs. At this moment, the maid who was helping Lin Jiej up the stairs happened to walk out of Lin Jiej's bedroom. The maid greeted respectfully. Young Mississippi, Lin Jai waited for the maid to leave before pushing open the door to Lin Jiej's bedroom and walking in. She shot a glance at Lin Jiej, who was still groaning in pain on the bed. Then, she raised the bouquet of flowers and said with a look of disdain on her face, "Lin Jiej, it's not like you don't know that I like roses. The more enchanting they are, the more I like them. When did I ever like such a refreshing thing?" As she spoke, Lin Jai placed the flowers on the table and began unwrapping the accessories. "Ah, why is there a strawberry on this necklace? It doesn't suit my style at all, okay?" The more she spoke, the more obvious the disdain on Lin Jai's face became. "Also, why do you have this bracelet too? The earrings, the anklet. Lin Jiej, does your family sell strawberries?" As she spoke, Lin Jai stole a glance at Lin Jiej. The young man's expression became somewhat vexed, mixed with a hint of displeasure. Lin Jai lowered her gaze and chuckled. She placed the items back into the jewelry box one by one, restoring it to its original state. After which, she walked up to the bed and looked down at the deformed Lin Jiej from above for a moment before saying, "All right, stop pretending." Lin Jiej ignored Lin Jai. Lin Jai didn't get angry at all. Instead, she sat by the bed and continued speaking gleefully, "That acting of yours can only fool that stupid GPS and my adorable and obedient little Yao Yao. There's no way you can fool your big sister. You should know that I was the one who helped you bathe when you were young. I know every single hair on your body like the back of my hand." Chapter 182. Was that supposed to be bathing me? Lin Jiej finally couldn't take it anymore and spoke up. "That was clearly when you were playing house when you were 4 years old. You threw the 8-month-old me into the water like a doll, and you still have the cheek to say that? If not for my incredible luck, I would have been drowned by you back then." Lin Jai, "All right then, even if that's what you said, I know you like the back of my hand. Your little tricks won't be able to fool my golden eyes of discerning eyes." After a moment of silence, Lin Jai leaned over to Lin Jiej's ear and said, "Honestly speaking, you bought that present for Yao Yao, right?" Lin Jiej didn't say a word, but his expression turned a little unnatural. Seeing his reaction, Lin Jai grew even more excited. "You wanted to buy it for Yao Yao's birthday? And use me as a scapegoat? But who would have thought that I would come back, and all your efforts would go to waste? Sigh, it's such a pity." Lin Jiej grabbed a pillow and buried it in his head, refusing to listen to Lin Jai's words. "China doesn't welcome you. Please return to where you belong." I won't. What can you do about it?" Lin Jai swaggered her neck twice before returning to the previous topic. "Don't you hate Yao Yao the most? You didn't even spare her a glance when she came to your house. So why are you giving her a present now? Why are you protecting her even at the cost of getting beaten up? Have you finally realized that I, Yao Yao, am adorable, obedient, beautiful, and innocent? Sigh, let me tell you something. How am I a woman? If I were a man, you wouldn't have been able to arrange a child marriage. But if Yao Yao is willing to follow me to America, we can still get married. After all, same-sex marriage is supported there." Lin Jai, Lin Jiej suddenly sat up and called out Lin Jiai's name. Oh, are you angry? Or are you jealous? Lin Jiai blinked her eyes as she took out her phone. Let me take a photo. My younger brother has never lost his temper before, so I have to record it. Stay in your current state and don't move. Thank you for your cooperation. Lin Jiej, why are you lying down? I haven't taken a photo yet. You're really boring. Angry? It can't be, right? Are you really angry? All right then. Big sis will stop fooling around with you. Let's get down to business. As she spoke, she stretched her hands toward Lin Jiej and rubbed them together. You know what I mean. As long as I'm satisfied, I'll return those gifts to Yao Yao. Are you sure you agree to this deal? If you don't agree, I'll do whatever I want with those things. Before Lin Jiai could finish her words, Lin Jiej had already reached for his phone and tapped on it a few times, following which Lin Jiai's phone rang. She tapped into her Alipay account and received 8,888 transfer from Lin Jiej. Lin Jiai rubbed her fingers together and said, "This money is only enough to cover the cost of the package. I haven't even paid for the gift yet. This was a robbery." Suppressing his anger, Lin Jiej tapped on the screen a few more times. Lin Jiai took a look at the new transaction record of 88,888, and a smile immediately lit up her face. Deal. Lin Jiej pointed to the door and asked, "So, Lin Jiai, can you go out now? Don't be in such a hurry. There's something more important that we haven't discussed yet," Lin Jiai said as she leaned her head closer to Lin Jiej's face. "Give me another sum of money, and I'll give you a surprise later on. I guarantee that you'll be satisfied." Chapter 183. Give me another sum of money, and I'll give you a surprise later. I guarantee that you'll be satisfied. There's no need for more. Just add a 1 in front of that sum of money. If you look like that sum of money, add a 1 in front of it. Lin Jiej flipped over, showing the back of his head to Lin Jiai. Lin Jiej, let me tell you this. I'm only giving you such a discount because you're my younger brother. If it were anyone else, for example, that stupid navigator, I wouldn't help them even if they kneeled down and called me daddy. Lin Jiej pulled the blanket over his head, not even wanting to show the back of his head to Lin Jiai. Lin Jiej, are you refusing to cooperate with me with that attitude of yours? All right then, I won't force you. After all, business requires mutual consent for a successful cooperation. However, you better not regret it. Since I dared to ask for such an exorbitant price, it means that my surprise will surely satisfy you. Seeing that Lin Jiej wasn't moved by her words at all, Lin Jiai refused to give up. Since you're willing to miss out on this golden opportunity, I won't be able to save you either. However, Lin Jiej, you should know that I'm a person who values integrity above all else. I'm a person who wants to do business over the long term. If I were to disappoint you this time, wouldn't I be unable to earn any money in the future? Do you think that I'll be that foolish? Sai, if you don't want to cooperate with me, then so be it. Why are you ignoring me? Who do you think you are? How rude. All right, I'll be leaving now, Lin Jiai said as she stood up to leave. She turned around 3 times with every step she took, but seeing that Lin Jiej was still as calm as a chicken, she decided to use her trump card. I'll go check if my adorable little Yao Yao is back yet. If she's back, I'll bring little Yao Yao out to have some fun. On the bed, Lin Jiej lifted his blanket and sat up. Upon seeing this sight, Lin Jiai's lips curled up into a smile. She retracted her gaze and confidently walked out of the room. Of course, she didn't forget to throw a bomb at him. It's a pity that a certain someone was so engrossed in his acting earlier. Even if he wanted to, he wouldn't be able to go now, or else he'd really be exposed. Right after Lin Jiai's G sounded, the phone in her hand suddenly rang with a ding-dong. Lowering her head, she saw that it was another notification from Alipay. Lin Jiej had transferred 188,888. Only then did Lin Jiai halt her footsteps. She turned around and flashed a radiant smile at Lin Jiej. There's a saying that's really true. A younger brother is indeed an older sister's cotton jacket. Little cotton padded jacket my ass. That phrase clearly said that a daughter was her father's intimate little cotton padded jacket. And little cotton padded jacket was used to describe a girl. Was he a girl? Unable to hold himself back any longer, Lin Jiej grabbed a pillow and threw it at Lin Jiai. Lin Jiai stretched out her hand and caught it firmly. Little cotton jacket, I guarantee that you'll be satisfied later. I'll go check on Yao Yao and see if she's back yet. Moi my ass. Lin Jiej forcefully pulled the blanket over himself and wrapped himself tightly in it. Not too long after Lin Jiai left, several footsteps sounded outside the door. Through the door, Lin Jiej could vaguely hear Lin Jiai and Shi Yao's conversation. He knew that Shi Yao and Xia Shangzhou had returned from buying medicine, and they were currently heading toward his bedroom. He immediately crawled out from under the blanket and laid on the bed, returning to his listless state of being unable to move due to the pain. Chapter 184. Little Jacket, take off your clothes. Little Jacket? Shi Yao, who was following closely behind Lin Jiai, blinked her eyes upon hearing those two words as she stared at Lin Jiej with a dazed expression. Little Jacket? Is she referring to Lin Jiej? As this thought flashed across Shi Yao's mind, she couldn't help but blink her eyes once more. Xia Shangzhou, who was walking at the back, heard the words Little Jacket as soon as he reached the entrance of the bedroom. He stared at Lin Jiai in horror as he froze at the entrance of the bedroom, not daring to take another step forward. Lin Jiai impatiently raised her leg and kicked Lin Jiej's buttocks. Hurry up, Little Jacket, take off your clothes. Are you trying to embarrass me? It's one thing to kick me in front of Soft Bun, but why did you have to kick my buttocks? Is this the surprise she's talking about? Just you wait, I'm going to steal your bank card in a moment. While Lin Jiej was fuming with rage, Lin Jiai, who had completely lost her patience, placed the medicine bottle on the bedside table, bent down, and pulled Lin Jiej's t-shirt up. Then, with a forceful tug, she pulled the t-shirt off Lin Jiej's head. Lin Jiai's crude actions caused Shi Yao to subconsciously call out for her to be gentler, but before she could say anything, the upper half of Lin Jiej's body was already exposed before her eyes. His skin was fair, and it was even more delicate than a lady's. There were a few bruises on his back, but it didn't affect the beauty of his figure in the slightest. Lin Jiej was usually quite skinny, so she didn't think that he would have muscles on him. Even though he was lying on his stomach, from the side, she could still vaguely see his abs and muscular chest. How can I keep staring at a man's body? Realizing this problem, Shi Yao's face reddened, and she quickly averted her gaze. Taking in Shi Yao's reaction, Lin Jiai didn't say a word, but her lips curled up into a meaningful smile. Holding the medicine bottle in her hand, she muttered under her breath, "How do I use this medicine?" as she poured half a bottle of medicinal wine onto Lin Jiej's back. Hearing Lin Jiai's soft words, Shi Yao shot another glance at Lin Jiej and reminded, "Sis Jiai, that's not how you should use the medicinal wine. You should pour it into your palm to warm it up first." But before Shi Yao could finish her words, Lin Jiai had already placed her hand on Lin Jiej's back. As Lin Jiej groaned in pain, he couldn't help but shout, "Be gentler." On the other hand, Lin Jiai acted as if she hadn't heard his words at all. Was she really his biological sister? Was she sure that she was giving him a surprise and not a scare? A second after Lin Jiej finished cursing inwardly, he sucked in a sharp breath of air in pain. "Gentler, gentler. Do you know how to apply medicine? Let me tell you, I wasn't crippled by anyone. I was crippled by your medicine." "Lin Jiai, are you doing this on purpose?" As Lin Jiej spoke, he couldn't help but feel a slight tremor in his voice. Even his hands were gripping the bedsheets tightly. Seeing this sight, Shi Yao finally couldn't stand it anymore and spoke up. "Sis Jiai, let me do it." Lin Jiai had been waiting for these words for a very long time, and she couldn't help but chuckle inwardly. However, on the surface, she shot a doubtful glance at Shi Yao and asked, "Darling Yao Yao, what did you say?" Chapter 185. Lin Jiai nodded in realization before passing the bottle over to Shi Yao. "All right then, babe Yao, I'll be troubling you then." Shi Yao took the bottle and shook her head before replying softly, "It's fine. It just so happens that I'm hungry too. I'll go downstairs and have the servants prepare some food. Babe Yao, are you hungry? Do you want to eat something?" Seeing that her plan had worked, Lin Jiai quickly found an excuse to slip away. Upon hearing that there was food, Shi Yao's eyes lit up. "I want to eat glutinous rice balls, mango pudding, steamed eggs with milk, tofu pancakes, puffs, and the cherries I just ate. They're so sweet. Lin Jiai, who had asked casually, didn't pay much attention to Shi Yao's words. It was only after Shi Yao finished speaking that she was stunned. What should I do? I didn't remember it. Lin Jiej, who had already recovered from the pain, saw Lin Jiai's reaction, but he couldn't be bothered to ridicule her. Instead, he said calmly, I also want to eat glutinous rice balls, mango pudding, steamed eggs with milk, tofu pancakes, puffs, cherries. Lin Jiai knew that Lin Jiej was referring to Shi Yao's craving for food, but she couldn't be bothered to expose him. After memorizing his words, she raised an okay gesture and turned around to leave. Before she lifted her feet, she saw Xia Shangzhou at the door. Only then did she realize that she was so focused on tricking Yao Yao that she forgot about this stupid GPS. Doing things for money was her creed. She couldn't leave a third wheel here. With such thoughts in mind, Lin Jiai turned to Xia Shangzhou and said, Navigator, what did you say just now? You want to use the washroom? Xia Shangzhou, who had been silent all this while, widened his eyes in shock. He shook his head and was just about to say, I didn't say anything, when Lin Jiai shot him a glance. But before he could say a single word, Lin Jiai shot him a glance. Xia Shangzhou's shaking head immediately turned into a nod. He clamped his legs together and clutched his crotch, saying, Yes, 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 I can't hold it in any longer. May I know where the washroom is? A smile blossomed on Lin Jiai's usually expressionless face. Look at you. Why are you so reserved? If you want to go to the toilet, why didn't you ask earlier? Come, come. Big sister will bring you to my room. After saying those words, Lin Jiai walked right up to Xia Shangzhou, and without giving him a chance to resist, she grabbed him by the collar and backed out of the room, closing the door behind her. Lin Jiai dragged Xia Shangzhou all the way to the bathroom in her bedroom. After pushing him in, she said, Go to the toilet properly before closing the door. She pondered for a moment, and fearing that Xia Shangzhou might run over to Lin Jiej's bedroom to wreak havoc while she went downstairs to instruct the servants to cook, she decided to lock the door to the bathroom, take out the key, and leave. After Lin Jiai dragged Xia Shangzhou away, the room abruptly fell silent. Shi Yao poured the medicinal wine into her palm and rubbed it for a while to warm it up. Then, she turned to the unconscious Lin Jiej and said gently, It might hurt a little, but I'll be careful. If you can bear with it, just bear with it for a while. Lin Jiej replied with an before falling silent. However, the frustration he felt from Lin Jiai's actions swiftly calmed him down. Look at Softbun. This is what a girl should be like. What the heck is Lin Jiai? She's a tomboy. No, she's more like a gangster. This was the first time Shi Yao had touched a man's body. In the instant that her hand landed on Lin Jiej's back, her fingers couldn't help but curl a little. Chapter 186. A moment later, she carefully applied the ointment on his wound. Her hands were very soft, and her strength was very gentle. While he felt a little pain when she touched the bruise, it was more of a numbing electric shock. Lin Jiej's throat tightened, and his body stiffened. Noticing his abnormality, Shi Yao immediately froze in fright and asked, Did I hurt you? Lin Jiej's entire mind was fixated on Shi Yao's hands on his back, and he hesitated for a moment before shaking his head lightly. No, Shi Yao replied. She thought that Lin Jiej was too embarrassed to admit that it hurt because he wanted to save face, so she softened her grip even more. To Lin Jiej, Shi Yao's actions made him feel even more tormented than before. But amidst this torment, his lips couldn't help but curl up slightly. His back was facing her, so she couldn't see it. Nevertheless, he still couldn't help but bury his face into the pillow, and a light shade of red slowly crept up his fair ears. The smell of the medicinal wine filled the entire room. Aside from her occasionally asking him in a low voice, Does it hurt? And are you okay? To which he would reply, No, and I'm okay. There was no other sound in the room. After some time, Shi Yao finally said, I'm done. Then, she moved her hands away from Lin Jiej's body and headed to the washroom. The stifled Lin Jiej was silent for a long while before he finally recovered from the indescribable torture and heaved a sigh of relief. Is this the surprise that Lin Jiai has prepared for me? It doesn't seem too bad. Even though I've made a loss, it's still worth it. With such thoughts in mind, Lin Jie couldn't help but recall the feeling of Shi Yao's hands sliding across his back earlier, and his lips couldn't help but curl up once more. When Shi Yao walked out of the washroom, she suddenly recalled the dirty bedsheets she saw when she was applying the ointment on Lin Jie. So she said, "Sis Jai poured too much medicinal wine earlier, and it spilled all over the bed. Let me help you change the bedsheets." Hearing Shi Yao's voice, Lin Jie raised his hand to cover the corner of his lips. When he finally managed to rein in his smile, he replied calmly, "All right." He paused for a moment before adding, "The bedsheets are in the changing room." Shi Yao replied with an "okay" before heading to the changing room and coming out with a clean set of bedsheets. When Shi Yao walked up to the bed, Lin Jie was just about to climb up from the bed when he suddenly froze in place. He had been lying on his stomach the whole time, so he didn't notice it. Now that he got up, he realized that his body was actually reacting. Closing his eyes, Lin Jie tried his best to calm himself down. Seeing that Lin Jie had stopped moving after a moment, Shi Yao thought that his back was hurting so much that he couldn't move at all. So, she tossed the bedsheet onto the sofa by the side and walked over to the bed. "Are you in so much pain that you can't get up? Let me help you." As she said those words, Shi Yao's hand touched Lin Jie's arm. It hadn't been easy for Lin Jie to calm himself down, but Shi Yao's touch seemed to be adding fuel to the fire, and his reaction grew even more intense. Lin Jie reflexively waved his hand in an attempt to dodge Shi Yao's arm, but in the heat of the moment, he accidentally used too much force and flung Shi Yao away. Fearing that she would fall, he hurriedly pulled her arm forward, bringing her into his embrace. Chapter 187. Shi Yao might be thin, but when she fell into Lin Jie's embrace, he still felt a slight pain in his chest. But that pain only lasted for a second before Lin Jie's senses were flooded with a sweet and tender sensation. The nefarious fire in his body burned to its peak, burning Lin Jie's mouth dry up and his throat constricted. Shi Yao was dazed for 2 seconds before she finally recovered. She had actually buried her face in Lin Jie's neck. He wasn't wearing any clothes, so she could clearly feel the smoothness of his skin. Shi Yao's face reddened, and she subconsciously tried to struggle free from Lin Jie's embrace. It was hard to tell whether it was due to nervousness or panic, but Shi Yao tried to struggle free from Lin Jie's embrace, but to no avail. Her face turned even redder, and she became even more flustered. The more flustered she was, the more flustered her thoughts became. In a moment of desperation, she tried to break free from his embrace, but she ended up reaching for his shoulder instead. Lin Jie's breathing abruptly halted, and the fingers that were holding onto Shi Yao's wrist started trembling. Just what in the world is Softbun doing? Why is she moving around like this? And why is her hand on my shoulder? Doesn't she know that she's trying to take my life? Lin Jie didn't dare to move in the slightest, fearing that he would offend her in any way. But Shi Yao's movements didn't stop. Her face was almost touching his ear, and the soft breath she was exhaling just happened to land right on the base of his ear. Lin Jie's Adam's apple moved slightly, and he couldn't help but curse inwardly, "Is Softbun a seductress? She's such a seductress, and a torturous seductress at that. The heck, torturous seductress, torturous seductress. Can someone tell me where I learned those words from?" Completely oblivious to Lin Jie's abnormality, Shi Yao's hand inadvertently touched Lin Jie's chest. Lin Jie's body jolted, and he abruptly flipped over, pressing Shi Yao beneath his body. This time, this seductress, Softbun won't be able to move anymore, right? With this thought in mind, Lin Jie lowered his head, and his gaze met with Shi Yao's eyes. Shi Yao didn't move anymore, as he wished. However, Lin Jie couldn't help but feel that this position was much better than having her squirming around on his body. Her eyes were big, and there was a bright light in her dark eyes. Her lips were red. That appearance, no matter how you looked at it, why did it look like she was seducing someone to commit a crime? His rationality told him that he should let go of her and leave, but it was as if a spell had been cast on him. He couldn't move at all. He didn't know how long he had been supporting himself on top of her and staring at her. His head couldn't help but start to sink bit by bit. Just as his lips were about to touch hers, the door to the bedroom suddenly opened, and Lin Jie's hurried voice sounded, "Yao Yao, are you done applying the ointment? Supper is ready. Come and eat? Ah. Lin Jai froze for a moment. But less than half a second later, she spoke up once more. I'm sorry, but I'll have to trouble you to continue. Continue, your little brother. Continue. Lin Jai's ruckus jolted Lin Jiej back to his senses. He swiftly left Shi Yao's body and rushed into the washroom. Chapter 188. 10 minutes later, Lin Jiej walked out of the bathroom in his bathrobe, only to see Lin Jai standing guard by the door. Ignoring Lin Jai, Lin Jiej walked straight into the changing room and locked the door from the inside. After changing into a clean shirt, he walked out of the changing room, and Lin Jai was still there. This time, upon seeing him, Lin Jai immediately spoke up. I've already given the things you bought to Yao Yao. As if Lin Jai didn't exist, Lin Jiej walked over to the dressing table and picked up the hairdryer to dry his hair. Lin Jai walked up to him and continued, Lin Jiej, the only surprise I prepared for you is to have Yao Yao apply medicine for you. I didn't go back on my word, did I? How could I have known that you'd actually push my innocent little Yao Yao onto the bed? Lin Jiej stopped drying his hair and glared at Lin Jai. Lin Jai, all right, it's your innocent little Yao Yao. Lin Jiej remained impassive, not reacting at all. Lin Jai continued, why don't we do this instead? I'll give you an after-sales service right now. As she spoke, Lin Jai took out her phone and reluctantly tapped on it. Then, the phone that Lin Jiej had placed on the table suddenly rang. It was a notification from Alipay. Lin Jai had transferred 88 renminbi to him. 88 renminbi? And she still has the cheek to take it out? Lin Jiej still had no intention of saying anything. He continued to blow his hair. I'll add a little more then. As Lin Jai said those words, Lin Jiej received another sum of money from Alipay. Can I be a little more generous this time around? Seeing that Lin Jiej was still unmoved, Lin Jai continued transferring her RMB. Is it enough this time around? Not enough. Lin Jai gritted her teeth and transferred another RMB. Lin Jiej, let me tell you, this is my bottom line. I can't go any further than that. Besides, you've only transferred me money 3 times, while I've transferred you money 4 times. Also, the amount I transferred last time is equal to yours. Also, let me tell you, the after-sales service on Taobao will only refund you 10 renminbi at most. It's really rare to see someone as generous as me. Your skin is as thick as the city walls. Indeed, it's rare to see someone as generous as you. Lin Jiej put down his phone and scratched his head in front of the mirror. Lin Jai put away her phone and leaned over to Lin Jiej with a gossipy look on her face. Hey, how far did you go with Yao Yao? Did they kiss? Did you touch it? At the end of her question, Lin Jai noticed that Lin Jiej's expression was growing colder and colder, so she couldn't help but ask in disappointment, it can't be, right? Didn't do anything? Lin Jiej, can you really do it? 1 hour. 1 hour. You didn't do anything for an hour? Some men are done in 3 seconds. Lin Jiej, are you sick in the head? You're the one who's sick. Your whole family is sick. Besides, it was none of her business whether he could do it or not. If even Softbun isn't worried about it, why should I be? Lin Jiej turned around and walked toward the bedroom door. Following behind him, Lin Jai exclaimed, my gosh, why is my younger brother so noob? Lin Jiej, don't walk so quickly. You need to watch some Japanese films to develop your knowledge in that field. If you're too embarrassed to buy them, I can buy them for you. Just pay me the money and remember to pay the purchasing fee. Chapter 189. Seeing that Lin Jiej was finally willing to talk to her, Lin Jai replied happily, that's right. I'm going to Xi'an and Chongqing to play. I've already booked my itinerary. Do you and Yao Yao want to come along? Lin Jiej ignored Lin Jai's words and continued calmly. There's something I forgot to tell you. Lin Jai, what is it? Just now, Mom and Dad said in the WeChat group that there's a small problem with a collaboration, so they have to return to Beijing. I accidentally let it slip that you're back from the United States, and they said that it's great that you can go with them. They don't need to make a special trip. While Lin Jai's face was slowly crumbling, Lin Jiej intentionally paused for a moment before continuing on. Oh, the payment for this collaboration has already been paid, so you won't be getting any money out of it. I'm guessing that Mom and Dad should be giving you a call by now. Right after Lin Jiej said those words, Lin Jai's phone suddenly rang. On the screen of the caller ID, the words mother appeared. Lin Jiayi picked up the call and replied, "Yes, Mom. I'm back. Isn't it Yao Yao's birthday today?" Sure, no problem. I'll head over to the company tomorrow." While Lin Jiayi was speaking, Lin Jiej was leisurely making his way down the stairs. Even if she had been eating rice for 3 years longer than him, she was still lacking in the end. Vacation? Dream on. You love money? I'll let you work for free without getting paid. In any case, the present he bought for Soft Bun was already back in her hands, so he had nothing to fear. Just as Lin Jiej reached the last step, Lin Jiayi's furious roar sounded from behind. Lin Jia. Without waiting for her to finish her words, Lin Jiej turned to look at Lin Jiayi and said with a look of pity, "Have you already booked the flight tickets and hotel to Xi and in Chongqing? If you return them, you'll have to deduct the processing fee." What a waste. Lin Jiej, I'm your elder sister. Lin Jiej calmly turned around and walked toward the dining room. Lin Jiej, stop right there. How dare you set me up? I'm so angry. Before Lin Jiayi could finish her words, Lin Jiej had already pushed open the door to the dining room. Shi Yao, who was in the midst of eating, suddenly turned her head toward the door with a bulging mouth. Noticing Shi Yao's gaze, Lin Jiayi smiled faintly and took several deep breaths. She couldn't afford to expose herself in front of Shi Yao. After all, she tricked her earlier too. How infuriating. Lin Jiej was clearly the one who had tricked Shi Yao in the first place, but now she couldn't reveal everything just to retaliate against him. No wonder he was so calm and dared to provoke her. Her sinister brother had a card up his sleeve. They clearly had the same father and mother. How could her younger brother be so sinister, cunning, black-bellied, and hateful? He wasn't at all like her, who was beautiful, sweet, and adorable. Lin Jiej paid no heed to Lin Jiayi's frenzied state. He pulled out a chair and sat across from Shi Yao. Shi Yao shot a glance at Zuan, and she couldn't be bothered to wonder what was wrong with Lin Jiayi anymore. With a reddened face, she lowered her head and continued making friends with the glutinous rice balls in her bowl. The servants brought out the supper that Lin Jiej had ordered one by one and placed them in front of him. Before he left, the servant gave him a strange look. Chapter 190. The supper was placed on the table for a long time, but Lin Jiej didn't eat it all. Instead, he continued stirring the glutinous dumplings with a spoon to cool them down. The maid standing by the side looked at Lin Jiej with even more bewilderment. Why did the young master order so much food instead of eating? Is he here to waste food? Just as the maid made up her mind, Lin Jiej lowered his head to take a look at the glutinous dumplings. Seeing that the temperature was suitable, he scooped up a glutinous dumpling and placed it into Shi Yao's empty bowl. Shi Yao raised her head and followed Lin Jiej's retracting spoon to look at his elegant face. Noticing the doubt in her eyes, Lin Jiej replied softly, "I can't finish it, so I'll share some with you." "Thank you." Shi Yao thanked him happily before lowering her head to stuff the glutinous dumpling that Lin Jiej had just given her into her mouth. Lin Jiej scooped another glutinous dumpling for Shi Yao, and after she was done, he continued feeding her. It didn't take long for the glutinous dumplings to be emptied. Then, he switched to steamed eggs with milk, followed by puffs, mango pudding, tofu pancakes, and cherries. By the time Shi Yao was done with the 2 portions of supper, the maid standing by the side finally realized what was going on. The young master wasn't here for supper, but to feed Miss Shi Yao. No, that's not right. Was the young master feeding Miss Shi Yao, or feeding them dog food? Seeing that the dishes on the table were all empty, Lin Jiej asked, "Are you full?" Shi Yao nodded. She turned to look at Lin Jiej, but a second later, she recalled what had happened upstairs. She lowered her head and replied with an embarrassed mm. In contrast to her embarrassment, Lin Jiej's reaction was much calmer. "It's getting late. I'll send you home." Shi Yao nodded once more and replied with a soft mm. She waited for Lin Jiej to get up before following him to the courtyard. As they passed by the living room, Shi Yao didn't forget to bid farewell to Lin Jiayi. Lin Jiej was still driving his grandfather's car. This time, he didn't let Shi Yao open the car door herself. Instead, he stopped by the front passenger seat and opened the door for her. After such a scene in Lin Jiej's bedroom, it was inevitable that the two of them would feel a little awkward. Thus, Even after the car had driven quite a distance away, neither of them spoke a word. But just as they were about to leave the city, a thought suddenly came to her mind, and she exclaimed, "T." Startled by her, Lin Jiej abruptly stepped on the brakes and asked, "What's wrong?" We haven't paid for the crayfish we ate at Taste of Home. So, it's about this matter. Is there a need to make such a fuss? Lin Jiej stepped on the gas pedal and calmly replied, "Let's just treat it as a free meal then. Isn't that great?" "That's not good. I really like their crayfish, and I'm planning to go there again in the future. If I were to dine and dash, how am I supposed to eat in the future?" Shi Yao said confidently. So, Soft Bun's point isn't that it's immoral to dine and dash, but that she can't eat it anymore in the future? Lin Jiej fell silent. "When I return to school tomorrow, I'll drop by their shop and make up for the money." Shi Yao was already trying to think of a way to salvage the situation. Knowing that Shi Yao was serious, Lin Jiej could only tell the truth. "I've already paid for the bill." "Oh." Shi Yao heaved a sigh of relief. Then, she quickly asked, "How much is it?" "I'll pay you." "There's no need for that." "How can I do that?" "We agreed that I'll treat you to a meal. If you don't want it, I'll treat you another time." This time, Lin Jiej didn't turn her down. When they arrived at Shi Yao's house, just as she was about to get out of the car, Lin Jiej suddenly called out to her, "Take a look at the things in the trunk. Are you interested?" Chapter 191. When they arrived at Shi Yao's doorstep, just as she was about to say thank you and goodbye, Lin Jiej suddenly spoke up, "Take a look at the things in the trunk. Are you interested?" This wasn't the first time she'd been stopped by him. Shi Yao silently swallowed the words that were at the tip of her tongue before replying with an "oh" and getting out of the car. Walking to the back of the car, Shi Yao pressed on the switch, and the door to the trunk slowly rose up. What entered her sight was a car filled with pink and translucent bags, and there were colorful ribbons tied around the bags. However, what caught Shi Yao's attention the most wasn't the girlish transparent bags and ribbons, but the contents within them. Passion fruit, loquat, watermelon, pineapple, pomegranate, and potato chips. They were all her favorites. Wow, what a blissful trunk. I really want to become a trunk. What should I do? While Shi Yao was staring unblinkingly at the trunk with drooling eyes, Lin Jiej got out of the car and walked over to her side. "Why? Are you interested?" Yes, it's simply two." Shi Yao didn't think too much about it and went along with Lin Jiej's words. However, halfway through her words, she suddenly paused. Her eyes were still glued to the transparent bags, but her words were directed at Lin Jiej. "These are." She was about to ask if these were for her, but as she spoke, she suddenly remembered that he was asking if she was interested. Didn't he say that he liked them? So, she paused once more. Lin Jiej thought that Shi Yao was asking where these things came from, so he fell silent for a moment. Instead of telling her that he had the chauffeur prepare them according to her preferences, he replied calmly, "Oh, these are confessional gifts from a girl." Shi Yao's eyes widened in shock. Noticing the change in her expression, Lin Jiej realized that there was something wrong with his random excuse. While he was cursing himself for having a screw loose in his head, he wanted to explain that these things were forced upon him by the girl, and he didn't want them at all. But before Lin Jiej could say a single word, Shi Yao's face suddenly glowed as she exclaimed in admiration, "Wow, this confessional gift is amazing. This girl is incredible." The words that Lin Jiej was about to say got stuck in his throat, and he found himself unable to speak anymore. In the end, she didn't react like that because of the girl's confession, but because of the food. He was the one who had spent money to prepare this, but now she was praising a girl who didn't even exist. Did this count as shooting himself in the foot? Forget it, that girl was just a figment of his imagination. He would just pretend that she was praising him for now. With such thoughts in mind, Lin Jiej said, "If you're interested, you can bring these items back with you." As much as Shi Yao wanted to take it, she hesitated for a second before shaking her head. She forced herself to shift her gaze away from the trunk and said, "That won't do. Someone else gave you these things, so how can I accept them?" With a calm expression on his face, Lin Jiej replied calmly, "I just think that you taste better, so I'm just asking you out of curiosity. If you don't want it, I'll just throw it away when I pass by the trash can later. So, was he treating her like a garbage collection station? But, if the garbage was all like this, she was willing to be a garbage recycling station for the rest of her life. Chapter 192. By the time Lin Jiej returned to the city, it was already 1 in the morning. Instead of returning home, he headed to the academy. After parking his car in the academy's parking lot, Lin Jiej headed to his dormitory while sending a message to his driver, telling him to pick up his car at the academy tomorrow. Just as he was about to reach his dormitory, Lin Jiej couldn't help but take out his phone and send a message to Shiyao as well. I didn't want that confession gift. That girl put it down and ran away. A moment later, Lin Jiej sent another message to Shiyao. I didn't get a good look at what that girl looked like. After sending the message, Lin Jiej finally put away his phone in satisfaction. He pushed open the door to the dormitory room, but barely after taking 2 steps, he was shocked by Xia Shangzhou's face. Standing a distance away, Lin Jiej was stunned for 2 seconds before he raised his chin at Xia Shangzhou and asked, "What's wrong with your face?" Xia Shangzhou wanted to cry but had no tears. He raised his hand and touched the clear red and swollen handprint on his face. Then, he said pitifully, "Your sister hit me." Lin Jiej replied with an "oh" in realization. Then, as he walked into the dormitory room, he said, "She might be a little violent, but she wouldn't hit you for no reason. You must have done something that deserved a beating." "What do you mean by did something that deserved a beating?" Xia Shangzhou abruptly stood up and began to explain everything that had happened. "Boss, I'm telling you, I don't know anything. I was locked in the bathroom by your sister. It was fortunate that I had my phone with me, so I spent an hour and a half playing games on the toilet. An hour and a half later, the door finally opened, and I thought that I was saved. But your sister..." At this point, Xia Shangzhou suddenly paused. Lu Binlai, who was lying on his bed listening to the drama, suddenly poked his head out and asked, "What happened to Boss's sister? What's wrong? What's wrong? Are you a recorder?" Xia Shangzhou retorted. After which, he stuttered, "Boss's sister came in to take a bath, and she wasn't wearing any clothes. Then, she scolded me for being a pervert and a peeping Tom. Without any hesitation, she grabbed me and gave me a good beating. She even said that no man who hangs out with Boss is a good person. After that, she threw me out of Boss's house." Ha 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 ha. Lu Binlai burst into merciless laughter before turning to Xia Shangzhou and asking, "How's Boss's elder sister's figure?" As soon as he said those words, Lin Jiej's cold gaze immediately shot toward Lu Binlai. Lu Binlai immediately lay back down on the bed and said, I'm so sleepy. I'm going to sleep now." All right. Unaware of the danger, Xia Shangzhou continued, "I didn't see anything. I only saw his fair skin, and then he was beaten to the ground." Lin Jiej grabbed his towel and pajamas before patting Xia Shangzhou's shoulder and saying, "It's a good thing that you didn't see anything. If you did, you'd be lying on the floor once more." After which, he walked into the bathroom. After taking a quick shower, Lin Jiej lay down on his bed and saw the message Shiyao had sent him. Since Big Sis is so good at giving gifts, she must be a very likable person. He was afraid that she would misunderstand, so he explained to her, but she was still praising that illusory girl. He even called her Little Missy. If he were to send another message to Softbun, he'd be a fool. A second after raising his flag, Lin Jiej's phone lit up once more. It was a message from Shiyao. "Right. Did you reach home safely?" Without any hesitation, Lin Jiej replied, "I did." Chapter 193. Almost without any hesitation, Lin Jiej replied, "I'm here." Lin Jiej paused for a moment before tapping on the keyboard once more. "I didn't go home. I went back to school." After sending the messages, Lin Jiej looked at the 2 messages he had replied to on the screen before turning his gaze back to his hands that were holding onto his phone. A second ago, he was still swearing with his teeth clenched tightly together, but a second later, upon seeing her message, he immediately replied. Not only that, he replied within seconds, and 2 at that. The face slaps came too quickly, like a tornado, but then again, it's my hands that are being shamed, not him, so it doesn't matter anymore. While Lin Jie was deep in thought, Shi Yao replied, "It's good that you're safe." At the end of the message was a silly smiley emoji. Looking at the emoji, Lin Jie couldn't help but imagine the look on her face when she saw the trunk of her car filled with her favorite food. She was always that simple. As long as there was food, she would be incomparably happy, as if she owned the entire world. Even though he didn't know too many women, Liang Jusi, that womanizer, had many female friends. Just like Soft Bun, they were all very young, but in the depths of their eyes, he could see many desires, such as the desire for money, the desire for luxuries, the desire to become a phoenix. Soft Bun wasn't a fool. He had already been surprised by her during the matter with Chiniran. If she wanted something, it should be easy for her to obtain it, but she didn't use any scheming or scheming at all. There were very few people in the world who could live their lives as simple and pure as Soft Bun, right? In that instant, a phrase flashed across Lin Jie's mind. Knowing the world but not the world, that's the most beautiful maturity. He thought that this was probably Soft Bun's greatest charm. It was a realm that many people couldn't reach in their lifetime. Due to his absent-mindedness, Lin Jie didn't reply to Shi Yao's message. However, Shi Yao sent him a new message. "If your back still hurts tomorrow, it's best for you to go to the hospital to have it checked. I don't want any sequelae. Is Soft Bun showing concern for me?" A smile crept up Lin Jie's face. He tapped on his phone and replied with an before adding, "Got it. Shi Yao. Also, thank you for today. Shi Yao. I have many things to thank you for." There were many things that Lin Jie could understand without having to go into too much detail. For example, the things he bought at W Shopping Mall, the bill for Taste of Home, the incident with Chiniran, and the trunk of food. Lin Jie's heart suddenly softened a little. Even his tapping on the keyboard had become much gentler. He replied, "You're welcome." He replied, "Good night." She quickly replied with an okay emoji. He didn't reply, and she didn't send him any more messages. He put down his phone, closed his eyes, and soon fell asleep. Then he dreamed of her, and in the dream, she did something indescribable with him. After that, he woke up and went to the toilet. After replying to Lin Jie's message, Shi Yao couldn't hold back her drowsiness any longer, and she fell into a blurry state of sleep. After an unknown period of time, she began to dream. The dream was illusory yet real. Chapter 194. In her dream, she was eating happily and blissfully, but this heavenly dream didn't last long. She saw Chiniran swinging a stick at her and Lin Jie pulled her into his embrace. Even though the dream was noisy, she still heard the words, "Happy birthday, Soft Bun, happy birthday, Shi Yao." Following which, the scene abruptly changed. She was pinned down on the bed, and his face was inches away from hers. Shi Yao returned to school on the afternoon of the weekend. Of course, she didn't forget to bring along the trash she had collected from her job as a garbage collector. As Lin Jie had given her too much trash, Shi Yao couldn't carry it all by herself. So, when she was close to school, she gave Lung Wan a call for help. As soon as Shi Yao got out of the car, she saw Lung Wan, He Tian, and Jiang Yu. While paying the fare, she beckoned them over. "Hurry up and help me get my..." Just as the word trash was about to slip out of her mouth, Shi Yao realized that she had been led astray by Lin Jie, so she quickly corrected herself, "Stuff." Then, the four of them carried bags of various sizes back to their dormitory room. Along the way, Shi Yao received quite a few complaints. "Lung Wan, Yao, have you gone mad? Did you move the entire fruit store to our school?" He Tian, Yao, do you know that fruits have a high sugar content? Eating too much of it will make you fat? Jiang Yu, Yao, are you planning to live off fruits this week? Shi Yao, that's not it. I'm recycling the trash that someone threw away. Jiang Yu, who's the one who threw away the trash? He Tian, tell me the address. I'll recycle it every day, and I'll set up a fruit stall to make a fortune. Upon reaching the dormitory room, Lung Wan put down the bags of various sizes and drank half a cup of water before interrupting He Tian and Jiang Yu's complaints. "All right, let's not talk about the fruit anymore. Let's get to the point first." "What point?" Shi Yao asked in return. She squatted down, picked up the biggest watermelon, and carried it to the washroom to wash. Under Lung Wan's reminder, Zhang Yu immediately spoke up. Oh, right. Yao Yao, let me tell you something tragic. The 100-meter sprint that you signed up for the sports meet was mistakenly registered as a 10,000 m marathon. Tian. What do you mean by a mistake? That must be Qin Iran's doing, right? She is a member of the student council and is in charge of the sports meet. Last year, she got first place in the 10,000 m marathon, so she changed Yao Yao to this event. I'm afraid she wants to torture Yao Yao to death. At that time, the forum will be in chaos again. Zhang Yu said, how can someone be so shameless? Lingering like a ghost. Let's change 100 meters to 10,000 meters. Compared to the other two's pointless roasting, Lung Wan's words were more practical. Yao Yao, I've gone to the class monitor to reason with him, but he said that the decision has already been made, and it can't be changed. If you really can't run away, you should just participate in it as a token. Shi Yao nodded as she passed the sliced watermelon over to her 3 roommates. Come, have some watermelon. Chapter 195. She wasn't stupid. Why would Zhang Yu ask her that? Shi Yao shot Zhang Yu a peculiar look. After swallowing the watermelon, she nodded her head vehemently and said, I understand. Before taking another bite of the watermelon, Tian. Then why are you reacting in such a manner? It was 10,000 meters. 10,000 meters. That's Qin Iran's forte. You're going to be tortured by her. Oh, I'll show you my reaction after she tortures me, Shi Yao said as she picked up another piece of watermelon. Zhang Yu raised her voice. Sure. Qi Yao. Calm down, calm down. Shi Yao hugged the watermelon tightly as she backed away from the ferocious Zhang Yu. Her eyes creased into crescents as she said with a gentle voice, Isn't the sports meet still a few days away? We'll talk about it during the competition. Hurry up and eat your watermelon. It won't taste good later. On the other hand, Zhang Yu seemed to have been angered by Shi Yao's disappointed expression. She picked up a huge piece of watermelon and stuffed it into her mouth, taking a huge bite. Tian shook her head helplessly as she picked up a piece of watermelon as well. On the other hand, Lung Wan didn't have much of a reaction. She picked up a piece of watermelon with the fewest seeds and chewed on it slowly. At 8 p.m., having nothing better to do, Shi Yao headed over to the Sexy and Frisky WeChat group, following which, Yao Loves Ice Cream, 111,111, Expert of the Monkeys, and Juice, successfully formed a party, and they headed off to the desert map to fight. Tonight, other than Shi Yao, the other 3 were in good form, winning chicken dinner after chicken dinner. When it was almost 9:30 p.m., the game ended. When he returned to the hall, a message appeared on the screen. It was from 111111. I have something to do later, so I can't play anymore. Seeing those words, Shi Yao also spoke up. What a coincidence. I can't play anymore either. Juice, Sis Yao, you have something on as well? Hearing Juice's question, Shi Yao retracted the potato chips that were just about to reach her mouth. It's nothing much. It's just that I'm going on a date with my Adonis. Expert of the Monkeys. Adonis? Expert of the Monkeys. Sis Yao, you have a boyfriend? No. My idol is my idol. Shi Yao swallowed the potato chips in her mouth and quickly explained. He's going to live stream later, so I'm going to watch it. Expert of the Monkeys. I see. Shi Yao wasn't sure if it was just her imagination, but for some reason, she felt as if Expert had heaved a sigh of relief. Juice, a live stream? Which celebrity is doing a live broadcast tonight? Why didn't I see any publicity? Yao Loves Ice Cream. My idol isn't a celebrity. He's a professional gamer. The reason why I'm playing PUBG is because of him. It was as if Shi Yao was sharing her most precious treasure, and she couldn't hide the pride in her words at all. Let me tell you guys. I'm sure you've heard of my idol's name. He's Legend, the captain of AE Squadron, the legend who won the championship for 3 consecutive years. Did you guys know that my idol is super powerful? He's known as the Demon King, El God, and the Sniper God. In this world, besides Yuan Longping, the person I admire the most is him. As a qualified glutton, the father of hybrid rice was worthy of respect. With such thoughts in mind, Shi Yao was just about to continue praising her Adonis when a melodious voice suddenly sounded in her earpiece. Why do you like legend? Chapter 196. Why do you like legend? Shi Yao was taken aback for a moment before realizing that the person who had spoken this time wasn't Juice or Expert but Mr. Numbers. It was rare for Mr. Numbers to have a voice chat, and this was one of the few times he had spoken to her. However, just like the first time, Shi Yao was mesmerized by his pleasant voice for a moment before she hurriedly snapped out of her reverie and replied to less than 111,111's question. The first time I noticed Legend was because he was a little different from the other professional players. He didn't show his face, live stream, participate in commercial performances, or interact actively with fans. Of course, that was only because I noticed him and knew that he was a professional player. To be honest, I couldn't even remember the letters of his class name, Legend. Besides, I don't play games, so I know very little about them. That's why I didn't know that he was very strong back then. I only noticed him for a moment before lowering my head to eat my mala hot pot. Shi Yao paused for a moment before explaining. I was still in high school back then, and I was eating mala hot pot with my classmates across the street. The boss of the mala hot pot was watching the competition. The next time I came to know about Legend was by chance. Back then, I was bored riding the bus home, so I took out my phone and browsed through Weibo. I saw that he was on the trending searches, and there was an interview with him. Unlike other professional players, it wasn't a video interview but a transcript of Legend's words. That was 3 years ago, but there was a paragraph in the interview that I remember very clearly. Adonis said that he wasn't the strongest newcomer, nor was he a dark horse in esports. He was someone who purely loved to play games. He said that in the esports circle, every single professional player is worthy of respect because they have given up on the path that ordinary people take to choose the path that is crueler than any other path. Many people think that the esports circle is all about the stage, the lights, the glory, the cheers, the shouts, and the flattery. But that's not the case. This circle is filled with tears, blood, dreams, and sweat. Every single professional player gives it their all, but the path to the championship is a narrow one. Results speak louder than words. When you have results, everyone says that you're invincible, but when you don't, no one will acknowledge your talent. Everyone only remembers the champion, and no one knows how the second place got off the stage. Adonis also said that he doesn't expect the esports industry to be accepted by the public, but he hopes that there won't be any prejudice against him. After all, everyone in the industry is gambling with their youth. At the very end of the interview, Adonis said something that touched me deeply. Shi Yao paused for a moment before continuing. There are no regrets in the youth of esports, and they are motivated to move forward and bring glory to the country. It was that interview that made me start paying attention to my Adonis. I looked through all of his matches, and how should I put it? I saw passion in him. He entered the esports circle because of his passion. Of course, it's not that Adonis doesn't love money. I don't think there's anyone in the world who doesn't love money, and I love it very much as well. After all, only with money can we have a lot of delicious food. But what I saw in Adonis wasn't a desire for fame and fortune, but a passion for gaming. I think that's a rare trait, so I unhesitatingly became his fan. Chapter 197. Shi Yao muttered to herself for a very, very long time. When she was done, she stuffed a potato chip into her mouth. Halfway through her mouth, she suddenly realized that she had said too much. After swallowing the potato chip, Shi Yao spoke up in embarrassment. I'm sorry about that. I accidentally said too much. After saying those words, Shi Yao couldn't help but add, but don't you think that my Adonis is really charismatic? Shi Yao thought that Juice or Expert would be the first to respond to her, but instead of 111,111, he said, that's all? After which, 111111 left. I'm leaving before exiting the game room. What do you mean by that? My Adonis is clearly very handsome, all right? Shi Yao's lips twitched as she stuffed another potato chip into her mouth. My Adonis doesn't care about Mr. Numbers' compliments at all. 111,111's words broke the silence between the other two. Juice, Sis Yao, I didn't think that you'd be such a deep person. Expert of the monkeys, that's right, Sis Yao. Do you know that your words just now made me feel that your image in my heart has grown a lot taller and mightier? It's fine as long as I'm taller, but what's with mightier? It's not like I want to be a fatty, however. Sure, Yao was already used to experts' words, so she didn't fuss over it. Instead, she gleefully replied, of course. I'm a cultured glutton. Juice. Ah, Sis Yao, are you sure you're just praising yourself? Expert of the monkeys. Of course I am. A good appetite is a blessing, and Sis Yao is the best glutton in the world. Sure Yao's eyes curled up as she nodded in agreement with Expert. Sure enough, Brother Expert knows how to speak. Juice. I'm glad that my grandson is finally being praised by someone. Expert of the monkeys. Grandson. Why can't you understand seniority? I'm clearly your grandfather. Juice. What? What am I to you? Expert of the monkeys. Grandfather. Juice. Good grandson. Call me that again. Listening to the two of them bickering with one another through the earpiece, Sure Yao froze for a moment before saying, well, you two can continue bickering. I'm going to look for my Adonis now. In the end, it was still due to her time spent chatting with Juice and Expert that by the time she arrived at Legends livestream room, the latter's game had already been going on for 5 minutes. Many people were spamming the screen with gifts. Sure Yao was filled with admiration for the other party's Taiku, as she rushed 100 RMB into the account. She only had 300 RMB left for this month's allowance, and there was still a week's time before she could claim her allowance for the next month. This was all she could give her Adonis. In order to dominate the screen as well, Sure Yao specially tipped Zhang Xian 1 RMB at a time. After she was done with the gifts, she watched the live stream for about half an hour before her date with her idol ended. Exiting the live stream platform, Sure Yao noticed that there was a notification in the WeChat group. She clicked into the chat and saw that Juice and Expert had already shifted the topic of grandpa and grandson from the game to the group. Sure Yao blushed in embarrassment for a second before sending a message. I just treated my Adonis like a tycoon. Juice, how rich is he? Chapter 198. Expert of the monkeys. He's really a tycoon. Sis Yao, you can change your name to Tycoon Yao now. Yao loves ice cream. The other party accepted your title without any hesitation and returned you a smile. Yao loves ice cream. Now that I think about it, I'm really a tycoon. 100 RMB. 100 RMB. I can buy 100 packets of spicy gluten, 200 lollipops, 20 bottles of drinks, 15 chicken drumsticks, and 5 meals of mala hot pot. Yao loves ice cream. Now that I think about it, I'm really in love with my Adonis. Shortly after Sure Yao's message was successfully sent out, 111,111, who rarely appeared in the group, appeared and sent her a red packet. Juice received the red packet and sent a kneel down and call me daddy emoji. Expert of the monkeys received the red packet and sent a kneel down and call me daddy emoji. Even Tide, who often went crazy, also received the red packet and sent a thank you boss emoji. Seeing that everyone had received their red packets, Sure Yao tapped on the red packet as well. A huge sum of money worth 200 yuan entered her wallet. Sure Yao was overwhelmed by the favor and agitated. She quickly sent a big boss emoji. 111,111. Only received 4 red packets. After receiving them, he sent another one, and the amount was still the same as before, 200 renminbi per person. Everyone continued receiving their red packets and sent, kneel down and call me daddy, thank you boss, and big boss emoji. 111,111. Only stopped after sending 5 red packets in a row. Juice. Boss, don't tell me your account was hacked? Expert of the monkeys. That's right. Why did boss send so many red packets out of the blue? Just as Sure Yao was about to reply, 111,111's message appeared on her phone screen. I don't have any other intentions. I just want to show you what a real tycoon looks like. So, Mr. Numbers had appeared just to slap her in the face? This person is too much. But then again, it seems like Mr. Numbers isn't wrong. He really is a tycoon. 5,800 renminbi red packets, that's 4,000 renminbi in total. In less than a minute, he had already squandered 4,000 renminbi. Out of pure curiosity, Sure Yao began typing. Yao loves ice cream, that's a real tycoon. Are you a second-generation tycoon? Expert of the monkeys. He's a second-generation rich, but our boss is also a first-generation rich. Juice. That's right. Our boss's savings have already broken through the 8-digit mark. I reckon it'll break through the 9-digit mark before the end of the year. Yao silently counted with her fingers for a long while before she finally understood the concept of 8 and 9 digits. Then, she replied awkwardly, "Oh, do you mean there's a decimal point in the middle of the numbers you're talking about?" Tide. No, it's tens of millions and hundreds of millions. That's how rich he is. No, it's 10 million and 100 million, 10 million and 100 million. When she played the game, not only did she get matched with the Almighty among the Almighty, but she also got matched with the Almighty among the Almighty. Yao was stunned for a moment before she replied, "What should I do? When I look at your boss now, it's like I'm looking at mountains of delicacies, seafood snacks, and fruits." Tide. 6666, Juice. 66666, Expert of the monkeys. 666,666. Chapter 199. What does he mean by that? Is he mocking me? Or is he mocking those three? Yao racked her brain for a long time, but she couldn't come up with an answer. Instead, a thought surfaced in her mind. So what if you're rich? But less than 30 seconds after this thought surfaced in her mind, Yao was slapped in the face. Fine, it's indeed amazing to be rich, especially when that money is used to buy mountains of delicacies, seafood snacks, and fruits. In the days that followed, Yao's life was very simple: eating, going to class, and playing games. Such days flew by quickly, and in the blink of an eye, it was time for the spring sports meet. On the first day of the spring sports meet, the students of the academy would wear their custom-made uniforms and enter the stadium for a ceremony. After that, it would be the women's relay race. In the afternoon, there would be the men's long jump race, men's relay race, women's 100-meter sprint race, and women's 10,000 marathon race. The first three events didn't have much to do with Yao's dormitory, but the final event, the women's 10,000 marathon race, was something that Yao would be participating in. While Yao's dormitory was on the way to the canteen, Jiangyu, He Tiantian, and Lung Nuan were already worrying about the race. He Tiantian, 10,000 sprint race. Even if she doesn't die, she'll be half crippled. Jiangyu. So, it doesn't matter if she dies or becomes half crippled. The best solution is for Yao not to participate in it. He Tiantian. But how can she not participate? She has to come up with a flawless excuse so that others won't think that she's running away because she's afraid. Jiangyu. Why don't we just say that she's on her period? I don't think that's possible. After all, Yao has already used this excuse during her physical education class 2 weeks ago. As she spoke, He Tiantian turned to Yao and asked, Yao, have you thought about what you should do? Seeing that Yao was ignoring He Tiantian, Jiangyu tugged on her arm and asked, Yao, why are you in a daze? Yao shook her head nonchalantly. Nothing, I'm not in a daze. Rather than worrying about what you're talking about, I should be worrying about whether I should have mala hot pot or sweet and sour pork for lunch. He Tiantian. So, you're saying that the eunuch is more anxious than the emperor? Jiangyu. Yes, this eunuch is dying of anxiety. Lung Nuan, who had been silent all this while, suddenly spoke up with a gentle tone. All right, the two of you, calm down. I've already thought it through. When Yao goes to the competition in the afternoon, she'll intentionally knock into Qiniran and fall to the ground. Then, she'll pretend to have sprained her ankle. This way, she won't lose face, and she won't be able to cause trouble on the forums. At the same time, she'll be able to get back at Qiniran for changing Yao's name. He Tiantian's eyes immediately lit up. Wan, you really are my goddess. What a brilliant move. Jiangyu. Nuan, in ancient times, she would be the material to torture all the concubines to death and become empress. Lung Nuan, you're wrong. I have the potential to torture the emperor to death and become the empress dowager. He Tiantian and Jiangyu raised their thumbs in admiration toward Lung Nuan. Then, Jiangyu turned to Yao and asked, Yao Yao, have you memorized Lung Wan's advice? That's what we'll do in the afternoon. Let's torture Qin Iran to death. Shi Yao nodded, indicating that she got it. After which, she urged the three of them to hurry up and line up for their meals. After lunch, Shi Yao returned to her dormitory room and began looking through her sportswear and running shoes. Since Qin Iran was the one to face in the afternoon, Jiang Yu and He Tian came over to help Shi Yao choose her clothes in order to make her look better than Qin Iran. Chapter 200. Jiang Yu chose a pair of sports shoes that Lin Jiai had given to Shi Yao on her birthday last week. This pair of shoes is really good. There are many celebrities wearing them, and they're extremely popular. They've always been out of stock in the country, so you can't even buy them. Furthermore, they're extremely expensive. Wear this, and you'll be able to crush Qin Iran like a nouveau riche. He Tian chose a set of sports clothes that Grandpa Lin had bought for her during the spring festival. This outfit is beautiful, and it's a young lady's red with a fair complexion. You'll definitely look stunning in it. Do a bun, and you'll look youthful and energetic. Qin Iran won't be able to match up to you. Jiang Yu agreed. Yao Yao, this is the first time you're standing together with Qin Iran in real life after the incident on the forum. You mustn't lose to her, so you should put on some makeup later. There's no need for that. Shi Yao was left speechless by Jiang Yu, and He Tian for a moment before speaking up. I'll definitely have to wear my old sports clothes and shoes. The more I wear them, the more comfortable they become. This is especially so for new shoes. They might chafe against my feet. At this point, Shi Yao paused for only a second. As if she knew what He Tian and Jiang Yu were going to say next, she quickly interjected, "Also, you mustn't put on any makeup. It's such a hot day, and you'll be sweating profusely. Your makeup will be ruined, and you'll look really ugly. Besides, this is the sports meet, not a beauty pageant." He Tian and Jiang Yu were just about to persuade Shi Yao when Lung Wan, who was sitting on the bed and looking at her phone, suddenly spoke up. "All right, stop messing around. Yao Yao's words make sense." Even though Jiang Yu regretted that she couldn't get Shi Yao to dress up beautifully for the sports meet, she still chose to respect Shi Yao's opinion. However, she still pointed out the inappropriateness of Shi Yao's words. "All right, as long as Yao Yao is happy. In any case, our Yao Yao is pretty, so she'll be able to match up to Qin Iran even without makeup. Let's just treat it as giving her some space to survive. However, there's one thing that I have to say. Yao Yao, you said that you'll be sweating profusely after running? Are you sure you can run all the way? If you can really run all the way, I'll pay for all your milk tea this month." He Tian, top comment, "I don't need you to be first. If you can make it out of here alive, I'll take care of all your yogurt for this month." Lung Wan, +1. Potato chips, 1 month. Milk tea, yogurt, potato chips. Without any hesitation, Shi Yao replied, "All right." At 2:30 p.m., all the students gathered at the field. Shi Yao's 10 kilometers race was scheduled for 5 in the afternoon. Of them, as for Shi Yao, Yao Yao of the Yao, Song Yao said with a Yao thought. At 4:30 in the afternoon, accompanied by 2 young ladies, Qin Iran walked past Shi Yao's class and headed for the starting line. She was already familiarizing herself with the running track and doing her warm-ups. Yu Yin, but to Yi, Yang dressed, Qin meet, and Shan, that Qin Yao dressed and she wore, and said, "Long Shi, A. Yao Yao Yun Shin of head, Qin, the Yu, Yao Yi, Yun, Yu, of Yu Yin, Yang, Yun, and Chen Yun, T Yun Yu, comma, Yang, Jiang Yu Qin Yun Yun Jiang, Yin, Bai Yu, her the Yang, Dong, Yang." Chapter 201. Despite their disdain, the 3 roommates were still a little worried about Shi Yao. When the participants for the women's 10 kilometers marathon were announced through the speakers on the podium, they couldn't help but urge Shi Yao to take care of herself. "Jiang Yu, Yao Yao, even though we have no choice but to participate in this race, it doesn't matter whether we win or lose. Your health is more important. If you can't finish the race, don't force yourself." He Tian nodded vehemently. "That's right. Yao Yao, if you can't finish the race, Let's just stop. At most, we'll just be mocked by others. Don't worry, you still have us. Lung Wan tugged Shi Yao's hand and said, even if you can't finish the race and give up halfway, I'll still buy you a month's worth of potato chips. It would be a lie to say that she wasn't touched, but this really wasn't the time to be sentimental. Shi Yao replied to her 3 roommates with a comforting smile. It's all right. I'm not a child anymore. I know what I'm doing, so you don't have to worry. After saying those words, Shi Yao ran down the steps and headed to the starting line to register. Qin Iran's expression visibly froze upon seeing Shi Yao's arrival, but it only lasted for an instant before a radiant smile blossomed on her face, reminiscent of a flower blooming under the sun. She didn't know what she was talking about with the 2 girls who had accompanied her. Then, the 2 girls stopped massaging her arms and legs and took a few steps away from her. As if she was warming up, she began to press her legs. However, her movements were much more beautiful than those of an ordinary person, and her figure was so graceful that it looked as if she was practicing a dance. This was especially so when she did a split, which elicited cheers from the nearby spectator stands. Upon seeing this sight, Shi Yao's expression remained calm, as if it had nothing to do with her at all. Following the physical education teacher's instructions, she lightly rubbed her legs and bounced a few times on the spot to relax. Qin Iran glanced at Shi Yao's inconspicuous warm-up from the corner of her eyes, and a disdainful sneer crept onto her lips. Lin Jiej, who was sitting in the shade with his earphones on, was busy playing with his phone, completely oblivious to the happenings outside. Beside him, Xia Shangzhou was supporting his head with a hand, looking drowsy. Lu Binlai raised a pair of binoculars and scanned the entire school. This is really weird. I've been looking for my wife for the entire morning, but why haven't I found her yet? Xia Shangzhou shot a disdainful glance at Lu Binlai. Don't you have any shame? Return my wife to me. She might not even know your name. Lu Binlai retracted his binoculars and said, it's none of your business. No one will think that you're a mute if you don't speak. Xia Shangzhou, none of your business, I just want to talk. Lu Binlai, is that what you said? That's bullsh**t. Xia Shangzhou replied, you sure are full of shit. Did I hear you wrong? I think I heard Junior sister's name. Lu Binlai was just about to retort back when he fell silent. Instead, he focused his attention on the broadcast for a moment, and a moment later, he was so shocked that his jaw nearly fell to the ground. It's really little Junior's name, and it's the women's 10 kilometers marathon. Xia Shangzhou turned to Lin Jiej and said, Boss, did you hear that? Junior, 10,000 meters. Chapter 202. Even if he were to use his toes to think about it, there was no way it could be Soft Bun. One must know that in the physical education class, she was already panting heavily after running a single lap. Besides, with Soft Bun's thin arms and legs, wouldn't running a 10,000-meter marathon be no different from courting death? Besides, it's not like Soft Bun is a fool. Why would she seek death for no reason? Xia Shangzhou, boss, are you saying that there are 2 Shi Yaos in G University? Lin Jiej didn't respond to the question. Instead, he continued playing with his phone, but in his heart, he was thinking that there was no way that Shi Yao could be compared to his Soft Bun. The difference between them was like the difference between heaven and earth. Seeing how confident Lin Jiej was, Lu Binlai and Xia Shangzhou didn't take his words to heart. One of them continued to doze off while the other picked up his binoculars to scan his surroundings. After the gunshot, many girls at the starting line broke into a run. From time to time, waves after waves of cheering could be heard from the surroundings. Lu Binlai looked from the east side of the field to the west side of the field, and as he scanned the track with his binoculars, he saw a familiar figure. He abruptly stopped in his tracks and stared at the figure for a moment before reaching out to pat Lin Jiej's arm. Boss, boss, boss. It's really, really. Xia Shangzhou, who was on the verge of dozing off, was jolted awake by Lu Binlai's startled voice. Really? Can't you speak without straightening your tongue? I. Lu Binlai stammered out a few I's in shock before he finally got to the point. This Shi Yao is that Shi Yao. Xia Shangzhou couldn't understand what Lu Binlai was talking about at all. Not only can you not speak properly, You can't even express yourself properly. Before Xia Shangzhou could finish his words, Lin Jie had already turned his gaze toward the field. With just a single glance, he frowned. Then, he reached out and snatched Lu Binlai's binoculars away. That nose, those eyes, that mouth, those slender arms and legs. It really was his soft bun. Is soft bun insane? So what if she's participating in the sports meet? She can't even run a 400-meter lap, but she's running a 10,000-meter race? Could it be that this little fiancé that his grandfather gave him was a masochist? Xia Shangzhou finally came to a realization. He stared at the sprinting Shi Yao for a moment before exclaiming, no, that can't be, right? Is she really little junior sister? Lu Binlai, can't you speak with your tongue straight? It's none of your business. Amidst the bickering between the two, Lin Jie tossed the binoculars into Lu Binlai's hands and raised his phone. He had to call an ambulance in case of emergency. Lin Jie had just pressed 120 when he suddenly stopped. He pondered for 2 seconds, then put his phone away and walked to the side of the track. Forget it. He would stay by the side of the track. If something went wrong with her, he would carry her away from the track. Seeing that Lin Jie was leaving, Xia Shangzhou and Lu Binlai quickly followed after him. By the time the three of them reached the edge of the track, the person in first place had already completed a full lap around the track, a distance of 400 meters. They knew that the person in first place was none other than Qin Yiran. On the other hand, Shi Yao had only completed 3/4 of the lap. Among the female students participating in the competition, she could be considered as one of the last few. Chapter 203. By the time Qin Yiran had run 3 laps, Shi Yao had run 2 laps. By now, Qin Yiran had already overtaken Shi Yao by a full lap. By the time Qin Yiran had run 5 laps, Shi Yao had run 3.5 laps. Qin Yiran had overtaken Shi Yao by exactly 1.5 lap. Xia Shangzhou couldn't help but comment, the gap between Little Junior and Campus Farce Qin is growing wider and wider. I'm afraid that it'll be difficult for her to win. Lu Binlai shot a glance at Lin Jie, who was standing by the side, and saw that the latter was calmly looking at Shi Yao, seemingly not paying any attention to the situation on the field. Thus, he replied, indeed, she's already overtaken by 1.5 laps. Even though long-distance running is a test of endurance, it'll still be difficult for her to catch up if the gap widens. Xia Shangzhou, what should we do? I really don't want Little Junior to be tortured by Campus Farce Qin. Lu Binlai, the most important thing is to participate. Besides, it's a 10 kilometers marathon. Little Junior deserves praise for her courage. The two of them continued chatting about the situation on the field. However, Lin Jie didn't seem to hear their words at all. His eyes were still glued to Shi Yao, ready to enter the field to save her at any moment. Time slowly ticked by and soon, the field was nearing its middle phase. Lu Binlai observed the field for a moment before asking with a perplexed tone, "Did you notice anything?" Xia Shangzhou, what's going on? Lu Binlai, this is Campus Farce Qin's 9th lap, right? Xia Shangzhou nodded. That's right. So what? Lu Binlai, this is Little Junior's 7th lap, and she's already halfway through the 7th lap. In other words, the gap between Campus Farce Qin and Little Junior hasn't widened at all since the 5th lap. Xia Shangzhou nodded in realization. That's right. I wouldn't have noticed it if you hadn't mentioned it. Furthermore, Little Junior's speed seems to be gradually increasing. Is it my imagination? Lu Binlai stared at the field for a moment before replying, it's not your imagination. She's really increasing in speed. Little Junior has already fallen from the 3rd from the bottom to the 4th from the bottom. Xia Shangzhou, Little Junior has fallen from the 5th from the bottom, 6th from the bottom, 7th from the bottom. But that's not the most frightening thing. The most frightening thing is that Little Junior's speed is still increasing. Lu Binlai. Indeed. Furthermore, Little Junior is only a step away from Farce Qin now. Xia Shangzhou said, Campus Farce Qin's speed has remained the same as before, and Little Junior's speed has not changed either. The distance between her and Campus Farce Qin has broken through 1 lap, and there's still about 4/5 of the distance between them. Little Junior's rank has also left the bottom of the list, and now, Xia Shangzhou silently counted for a while, then said, 11th. Lu Binlai. Impressive, little junior. It looks like she's going to get into the top 10 soon. She actually overtook 2 people and is now in 9th place. The heck, this can't be, right? Little junior's sister sped up again? This was her 14th round, right? It's already 5,600 meters, and it can still accelerate? Xia Shangzhou. I'm impressed. I'm only half a lap behind Farshchin. I'm now in the top 5. Right after Xia Shangzhou said those words, Shi Yao had already overtaken another person. Lu Binlai. He's already in 4th place. He's roughly 100 meters away from Qin Iran now. Chapter 204. Lu Binlai. But Campus Farshchin is also starting to pick up speed. It's a tug-of-war now, and the gap between Little Junior and Campus Farshchin won't be able to open up anymore. Xia Shangzhou. The further we go, the harder it is to catch up because everyone is tired. I think Little Junior is already at her fastest speed. If Little Junior can't speed up, it will be difficult to overtake Farshchin. After saying those words, Xia Shangzhou turned to Lu Binlai and asked, which round is it now? Lu Binlai. 20 laps. There are only 5 laps left to determine the victor. Xia Shangzhou. There are only 4.5 laps left, and we still can't close the gap. This is going to be really dangerous. For more, before Lu Binlai could finish the word circle, his eyes abruptly widened in shock. Seriously? Little junior sister can speed up? F***CK. I'm going to kneel down to her. Xia Shangzhou was equally shocked. F***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***CKF***C CKF, 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 CK. Lu Binlai's agitated voice doubled in volume. He's already surpassed campus farce Chin. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Just as excited as Lu Binlai were the students in the academy. The deafening cheers and screams almost broke the sky of the sports field. Xia Shangzhou, that's not the point, okay? More importantly, the junior is still accelerating. She has already overtaken campus farce Chin by 50 meters. Half a lap. Almost a lap. Is this a movie? In the last 3 laps, Little Junior is going to overtake Chin Iran by 1 lap? It's already 1 lap, okay? Little Junior's first place is secured, secured, secured. Lu Binlai suddenly choked on his words. Little Junior is still accelerating? With this speed, he could probably run 400 meters, right? Oh my god, she's already 1.5 laps ahead of campus farce Chin. She's even more than campus farce Chin's 1.5 laps lead at the beginning of the race. There were quite a few people in the surroundings who were stunned by Shi Yao's final sprint. Even though they didn't know who she was, there were still quite a few of them who stood up and cheered her on. On the 25th lap, which was also the last 100 meters of the final lap, Shi Yao's speed had already reached the limit of her 100-meter sprint. The red string at the finish line had already been pulled up. A second before Shi Yao reached the red string, she had already overtaken Chin Iran, running 2 laps more than the latter. Zhang Yu, He Tiantian, and Lung Nuan were already waiting at the finishing line. When they saw that Shi Yao had finished her run, they immediately rushed forward and hugged her tightly. After the merry banter, Shi Yao stood at the finish line, not in a hurry to leave. Instead, she watched as the other competitors continued with their respective races. When Chin Iran finished her 24th lap, she happened to be right in front of Shi Yao. Shi Yao passed the bottle of water that Lung Nuan had brought over back to her before stretching her arms to stretch her muscles. After which, she wrapped her arms around her legs and easily pulled them up to her ears. Shi Yao could clearly see that Chin Iran's complexion had turned a little awful, and her footsteps had become a little disorderly. She didn't think that she didn't know. Back then, during physical education class, she couldn't run because she wasn't feeling well during her period. She thought that she couldn't make it and wanted to use the 10,000-meter race to torture her. With such thoughts in mind, Shi Yao raised her chin slightly and did a perfect split on the ground. Warming up before the match? What kind of ability is that? If you have the ability, warm up after the match. Who wasn't a little beauty who could do the splits? Chapter 205. As Shiryao retracted her split and stood up with ease, He Tianyang noticed her actions and leaned over to her ear to ask, Yao Yao, what are you doing? I'm messing around. Shiryao replied honestly before shooting a glance at Qin Iran once more. Her complexion had turned even uglier than before. Putting aside her footsteps, even her chest was heaving up and down unsteadily. Shiryao knew that Qin Iran had been agitated by her. If she didn't adjust her emotions, she might end up suffering from a heart attack later on. However, that was unlikely to happen. If she could really maintain her composure, she wouldn't have put on so many sock puppet accounts to slander the students who were vying with her for the position of campus belle. Messing around? Do you have some kind of misunderstanding about what messing around means? Do you think that you're ruining the sports meet or blowing up the sports field? Even though your pose is indeed pretty, Zhang Yu thought that Shiryao was spouting nonsense, so she couldn't help but nag at her. Shiryao watched as Qin Iran ran past her before replying to Zhang Yu with a straight face. I can't ruin the sports meet or blow up the sports field. I'm just interfering with the outcome of the competition. She was clearly mocking her, but she actually replied to her as though it was a normal conversation. Can you even allow me to speak properly? Zhang Yu was rendered speechless by Shiryao for a long while before she moved her lips, interfering with the outcome of the competition. Yao Yao, do you think that you're a deity? Before Zhang Yu could finish her words, Qin Iran's hand suddenly clutched her waist, and like a deflated balloon, her speed dropped significantly. The third-place student behind Qin Iran was hot on her heels. Her momentary lapse in concentration soon caused her to be overtaken by the third-place student. Zhang Yu widened her eyes in shock. In no way, right? Yao Yao, are you really a deity? You actually made Qin Iran fall to third place? Shiryao's lips twitched as she looked at Zhang Yu and asked, Do I look that harmless? Zhang Yu looked at the sweet young lady and nodded. Yes, you look so harmless that I'm afraid that you'll be abducted on the streets. Shiryao pouted as she turned to look at He Tian also nodded without any hesitation. Harmless to the point that you're afraid of being abducted. You're practically a retarded child. Humph, you're the retarded child. Shiryao proudly turned her head to look at Qin Iran, who was still slowing down on the field, and said, I'm not as kind as you think I am. I don't want Qin Iran to become third place. I want her to be unable to even get into the top 10. He Tian looked at her in disbelief. There's only half left. Yao Yao, are you? Zhang Yu added, and it's just a daydream. Chapter 206. She was supposed to pummel Yao Yao, but who could have thought that she would be the one being pummeled by Yao Yao instead? Anyone in her position would probably die of rage from the sudden change. Amidst Lung Wan's calm analysis, Qin Iran was overtaken by another 3 people one after another. At this point, she had already fallen from first place to 6th place, and right behind her, there were still 5 or 6 people chasing after her. When Qin Iran's name dropped to the 7th place, she seemed to have run out of energy, and she came to a halt. She took 2 steps forward before squatting down right before the eyes of the entire school. Qin Iran's outcome was far worse than Shiryao had expected. Putting aside getting into the top 10, she didn't even reach the finish line before giving up. Seeing such an outcome, Shiryao couldn't help but sweat in her heart. It was just as Sis Jai had said, Qin Iran was a good-for-nothing through and through. She was the one who had initiated many of the attacks, but when she saw that she was no match for Qin Iran, she didn't even dare to compete with her anymore. To think that such a person would have the cheek to pick a fight with her, with such thoughts in mind, Shiryao couldn't help but shake her head and say, it doesn't take much intelligence for someone like her to retaliate. Hearing Shiryao's words, Zhang Yu finally snapped out of the drama of the competition and said, Yao Yao, I won't say that you're harmless anymore. You're a witch. What witch? She's clearly a demoness. After expressing her opinion, He Tian suddenly thought of something, and she turned to Shiryao and asked, Yao Yao, you're clearly capable of running a 10 kilometers marathon. Why didn't you tell us earlier? Shiryao replied calmly, None of you asked me. He Tian, Zhang Yu. A moment later, Zhang Yu finally spoke up. All right then. Even if we didn't ask, you should have taken the initiative to tell us. That's such an incredible specialty. Shi Yao blinked her eyes and said, Isn't my specialty what I'm best at? When I introduced myself to you, I told you that my specialty is eating. There's nothing wrong with that. He Tianyuan, Zhang Yu. Shi Yao looked at the silent duo and blinked her eyes once more. Besides, is running a 10 kilometers marathon that difficult? Is that even a specialty? He Tian, Zhang Yu. Miss, are you serious? Or are you cracking a cold joke? Strange, what did they mean by this? Shi Yao stared at the two of them for a while longer before speaking up once more. Let me tell you something. Back when I went as Xian to play, I got really good at the bowl-smashing wine. I drank so much that the person sitting next to me changed several times. He Tianyuan. Zhang Yu. Please don't say any more. Maiden, however, Shi Yao didn't hear their thoughts at all. She moved her lips, wanting to say something, but before she could say anything, her name had already been announced from the podium, and she was asked to proceed to the podium to receive her award. As she had clinched first place, after receiving her prize, a reporter from the school's Reporter Society came over to interview her. Student Shi Yao, you've broken our school's record in the 10 kilometers marathon. Is there anything you would like to say about it? Shi Yao pondered for a moment before replying humbly, It's not too bad. It's just that I did my best. I wasn't even able to break the 10,000 m sprint record I set in high school. The interviewer seemed to be stumped by the question. It took a long while before he asked once more, What's your greatest feeling after the 10 kilometers marathon? Chapter 207. Well, there's yogurt, milk tea, and potato chips for a month. Shi Yao's voice traveled steadily into Lin Jiej's ears through the speakers. It was only after hearing those words that he was finally convinced that the girl who won the 10 kilometers sprint championship and broke the record was really Soft Bun. The Soft Bun with slender arms and legs. So, all of his previous thoughts had been slapped in the face? She didn't need an ambulance at all, nor did she need him to carry her away from the track. The little fiancé that his grandfather had forced onto him was not only not a masochist, but a hidden long-distance running expert too. The first time was the Forum Storm, the second was the physical education class, and this was the third sports meet. She had already surprised him thrice in a row. Lu Binlai and Xia Shangzhou were equally shocked. Lu Binlai. Boss, Little Junior won the championship? Xia Shangzhou. It's one thing that she won the championship, but to think that she could even do the splits after the 10 kilometers sprint. Lu Binlai. 6666666666666. Seeing that Lin Jiej was standing calmly by the side, Xia Shangzhou repeated Lu Binlai's words once more. Boss, Little Junior won the championship. Lin Jiej nodded. I saw it. Xia Shangzhou. Then why aren't you happy at all? You should know that Little Junior's race was really exciting. It felt like watching an NBA game. My blood was boiling with excitement. How was he unhappy? He was practically flying into the sky. Not only so, he was also shocked, astonished, agitated, and proud. Lin Jiej was just about to reply to Xia Shangzhou that he was happy, but he suddenly realized that if he were to reply like that, wouldn't he be telling Xia Shangzhou and Lu Binlai that he didn't know much about Soft Bun? After 2 seconds of silence, Lin Jiej glanced at Xia Shangzhou with a knowing look on his face and said, Isn't that normal? Is there a need to make such a big fuss over it? Xia Shangzhou was rendered speechless for a moment before replying, Boss, since you knew that Little Junior would win, why did you say that she wasn't the contestant? Ah, his name is Xia Shangzhou, isn't it? I'll remember it. Lin Jiej lowered his eyelids, concealing the gleam in his eyes. He paused for a few seconds before he turned to Xia Shangzhou and replied with an arrogant look on his face, because I think that it's beneath her to compete with those people. After saying those words, Lin Jiej turned around and walked back to his seat, leaving Xia Shangzhou scratching his head in bewilderment. Wait a minute, the one who's good at running is Little Junior. Where did that "I'm the strongest king" expression come from? Barely after Lin Jiej took 2 steps up the stairs, someone suddenly walked past him and asked, Where's Shi Yao? What would you like? Pulsation? All right, I'll buy it and send it over to you later. Shi Yao. Hearing those words, Lin Jiej halted his footsteps and turned his head slightly to look behind him. It was Han Jing. He was hanging up the phone. On the other hand, his earlier call was asking about Shi Yao's whereabouts. So, if he wasn't calling Shi Yao, then he was calling Shi Yao's roommate? Mai Dong. He wants to buy a Mai Dong for Shi Yao? Lin Jiej stood on the spot for less than 2 seconds before he turned around and headed in the direction that Han Jing had left. Lu Binlai and Xia Shangzhou subconsciously called out, "Boss, where are you going? Boss?" Chapter 208. Roughly 20 minutes later, Lin Jiej appeared at the entrance of the field with a bag in hand. Facing the crowd of spectators around the field, Lin Jiej froze for a moment before whipping out his phone and making a call. It didn't take long for the call to be connected, and Shi Yao's gentle voice drifted over from the background. "Hello? Lin Jiej replied. A second later, he asked again, "Where are you?" "Ah," Shi Yao exclaimed in surprise. "I'm at the school field. Of course, I know that I'm at the school field, but what I'm asking is where I am." Lin Jiej fell silent. Just as he was about to speak again, Shi Yao's voice sounded once more. "What's the matter?" There is?" Lin Jiej paused for a moment before lowering his head to look at the bag in his hands. Then, he continued, "There's another girl who gave me some food. Do you want it? If you don't want it, I'll throw it away." Lin Jiej was really treating her as a garbage collection station. He'd just given her a pile of fruit garbage not too long ago, and she hadn't even finished digesting that garbage yet. And now, there was another batch of garbage? Shi Yao clutched her phone, not knowing whether she should accept it or not. At that moment, Lin Jiej's voice sounded once more. "Forget it. Pretend that I never asked. I'll throw it away." Thinking about how delicious food was going to be wasted, Shi Yao felt as though a knife was slicing through her heart. Without any hesitation, she blurted out, "Where are you? I'll go look for you." Lin Jiej's lips curled up into a smile after his scheme worked. So, the excuse he came up with that day in a moment of desperation turned out to be pretty useful. "I'll go look for you instead. There's ice cream here, and your legs are short. I'm afraid that it'll melt before you even reach me." "What do you mean by short legs? Even if I'm a little short compared to him, I can still run." Shi Yao puffed up her cheeks, but in the end, for the sake of the delicious food, she didn't resist Lin Jiej and obediently told him where she was. After obtaining Shi Yao's address, Lin Jiej grabbed his bag and leisurely made his way over. When he arrived in Shi Yao's vicinity, he didn't rush over to look for her immediately. Instead, he pretended to be looking at his phone, but his eyes were actually darting around the area for a moment. It was only when he saw Han Jing walking over with a bag in his hand that he placed his phone back into his pocket and began making his way over to Shi Yao. There were quite a few students in the surroundings who recognized Lin Jiej, and they were looking at him excitedly. On the other hand, Shi Yao seemed to be discussing something with her 3 roommates, so they didn't notice Lin Jiej's approach. Lin Jiej stood by Shi Yao's side and lowered his head to look at her for a moment. Seeing that she was still in a daze, he took out the ice cream from the bag and placed it on her fair face. Shi Yao shuddered at the sudden chill, and she abruptly raised her head. At the same time, her 3 roommates were also looking at Lin Jiej. In contrast to He Tiantian and Zhang Yu's agitated expressions, Lung Nuan stood up calmly and moved away from Shi Yao's seat. Lin Jiej sat down and glanced ahead. Seeing that Han Jing was already walking over, he removed the packaging of the ice cream and waited for Han Jing to look in Shi Yao's direction before passing the ice cream into Shi Yao's hands. Lin Jiej could clearly see Han Jing's footsteps pausing on the spot. He was secretly delighted, but on the surface, he calmly took out the Mai Dong, twisted open the cap, and passed it back to Shi Yao. Chapter 209. Shi Yao shot a glance at Lin Jiej and thanked him before taking the Mai Dong and hugging it tightly in her embrace. Even though Lin Jiej replied with a polite "You're welcome," he still inched his head closer to Shi Yao's ear. In the eyes of the onlookers, this action seemed extremely intimate, as if a couple was interacting with each other. Han Jing's face paled slightly. Looking at this sight, his fingers, which were holding onto the bag, couldn't help but tighten their grip. Taking in his reaction, Lin Jie's lips curled up into a gentle smile as he stared at Shi Yao for a moment. Then, he stretched out his hand and lightly stroked Shi Yao's cheek. Why would he touch her for no reason? Shi Yao turned her head to look at Lin Jie doubtfully. In the instant that Shi Yao turned her head around, Lin Jie immediately tilted his head to the side so that Han Jing wouldn't be able to see his expression. Then, he swiftly retracted the smile on his face. Meeting Shi Yao's gaze, Lin Jie didn't wait for her to say anything before he forcefully said, "You got some ice cream on your face. I'm a germaphobe, so I couldn't stand it, so I reluctantly helped you." Shi Yao, who had just understood the situation, hadn't even thought of what to say when Lin Jie added, "There's no need to thank me." Who should thank him? What a narcissistic young man. Besides, I got some ice cream on my face, so why wouldn't he tell me about it? What do you mean by I'm a germaphobe, so I can't stand it? Did I ask him to stand it? If you can't stand it, then don't look at it. If he hadn't thrown the trash to her, she would surely have chased him away. Shi Yao vented her frustrations on the ice cream, so she lowered her head and took a huge bite out of it. When Shi Yao retracted her gaze, Lin Jie's lips curled into a smile once more. Then, he casually turned his head around to look at where Han Jing was standing. Han Jing had already lowered his head, so he didn't approach Shi Yao anymore. Instead, he stood on the spot for a moment before turning around to leave. After staring at his back for 2 seconds, Lin Jie said, "I'm leaving." After Shi Yao nodded her head in farewell, he stood up and walked away under the gazes of quite a few ladies. Han Jing walked very slowly, so it didn't take Lin Jie long to catch up to him. Before overtaking Han Jing, Lin Jie tilted his head to the side and slowed down his footsteps. He whipped out his phone, and without making any calls, he raised it to his ear and said, "Yao Yao, there's something that I forgot to tell you. Wait for me after the sports meet ends the day after tomorrow. Grandfather says that he wants to meet you." Lin Jie noticed that Han Jing's footsteps had clearly paused for a moment. He pretended not to see Han Jing and continued to walk forward as he continued to talk on the phone. When he passed by Han Jing, he saw Han Jing's slightly pursed lips and his words became even more immersed in his acting. Okay, I'll give you a call when the time comes. The ice cream is a little cold, so don't eat too much or you'll have a stomachache." By the time Lin Jie returned to his classroom in high spirits, Xia Shangzhou was listening to a song, and Lu Binlai was still looking around with a pair of binoculars. "Xia Shangzhou, boss, where did you go earlier?" Lu Binlai, "Why did you leave in such a hurry? Did you go to the toilet? Didn't I say that the spicy hot pot from lunch was too spicy? You'll have diarrhea." Didn't he need to rack his brain to come up with an excuse? Lin Jie shrugged his shoulders. Without saying a word, he lazily sat down on his seat, put his headphones back on, and continued watching the game. Chapter 210. Xia Shangzhou dusted off the dirt on his trousers as he asked, "Boss, what are we eating tonight?" Lu Binlai, "I feel like eating rice noodles." Lin Jie calmly stood up and tidied up his clothes before interrupting Lu Binlai's words. "I've already prepared dinner. It's in the dormitory." Xia Shangzhou, "Daddy is daddy. You're getting more and more considerate." Lu Binlai, "Daddy, Salong Heya." Faced with the two fellows fawning, Lin Jie's lips twitched, but he didn't say a word. With his hands in his pockets, he began making his way back to his dormitory. Xia Shangzhou ran the fastest. He rushed to the door of the dormitory, took out his key, and sang, "Dinner, dinner, I love you. I'm starving if I miss a meal. I'm starving," as he opened the door. Then, he took a step into the dormitory, and as if someone had hit his acupoints, he froze on the spot. "What are you doing? Blocking the door? Are you trying to be a door god?" Lu Binlai followed closely behind. He kicked Xia Shangzhou's bottom, but when he saw the sight before him, he froze on the spot. Roughly 10 seconds later, Lin Jie leisurely walked into the dormitory room. When he passed by Lu Binlai and Xia Shangzhou, the two of them finally recovered from their daze. Xia Shangzhou, "Boss, do you sell my dong wholesale?" Lu Binlai, "Or are you going to give me a big gift as many my dongs as you buy? Don't tell me it's a beautiful woman?" Without saying a word, Lin Jie grabbed a bottle of my dong, pulled out a chair, and sat down. After which, he twisted open the cap and leisurely took a sip. Noticing that Xia Shangzhou and Lu Binlai's hands were empty, he gestured with his chin toward the pulse that was piled up all over the balcony, blocking even the windows. Leisurely, he said, "What are you waiting for? Aren't we going to have dinner? Eat. 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 Eat." Lu Binlai widened his eyes in shock. "Boss, are you saying that dinner is my dong?" Lin Jiej nodded before taking another sip of my dong. "Xia Shangzhou, boss, you can't eat my dong as a meal, right? Even if it can be eaten, there's no need to buy so much, right? Is there a lot of them?" Lin Jiej turned around to look at the towering wall of pulsing dong behind him. "It's still all right." "What do you mean it's okay? If he drank 1 bottle a day, he would be able to drink for at least 2 years, right?" Lu Binlai was just about to speak up when Lin Jiej, who had just taken another mouthful of my dong, spoke up. "When you finish this my dong, we'll be able to have a feast. I've already calculated it. This month, we won't be buying water in our dorm. We'll be buying my dong." As he spoke, Lin Jiej turned to Lu Binlai, who had been washing his face with mineral water, and said, "I don't mind you washing your face with my dong. Bathing is fine too. And you too." Lin Jiej turned his gaze to Xia Shangzhou, who would always eat instant noodles every night because he was hungry. "I don't mind if you eat pulsing instant noodles too. You might just be able to create an instant noodle that goes viral. Good luck." Under the gazes of the trembling Lu Binlai and Xia Shangzhou, Lin Jiej raised his head and gulped down the remaining bottle of my dong. There was nothing he could do about it. Soft Bun was the one who wanted to drink the my dong, so he was the only one who could buy it for her. Putting aside the fact that he couldn't allow Han Jing's pulse-kinetic energy to fall into Soft Bun's hands, he wouldn't even allow her to buy the pulse-kinetic energy. Shi Yao's 10 kilometers marathon and interview records had caused a huge uproar in the field. As such, not long after the first day of the sports meet ended, the entire school forum was flooded with Shi Yao's post. Ji University was a prestigious school, and the one thing it didn't lack the most was talents. Chapter 211. The post was titled, Year 1 English Faculty Shi Yao is a top student, and it contained Shi Yao's results in Ji University over the past year, all of which were of A+ grades. The post was titled, Ji University's Women's 10 kilometers dash record holder. Shi Yao is also Ji University's Women's 100-meter dash record holder, and it contained a photo of Shi Yao clinching first place in the 100-meter sprint during the Ji University Autumn Sports Competition. The post was titled, That Chick Who Crushed Qiniran in the 10K race in the afternoon scored full marks in English, and the content of the post was Shi Yao's results for the National Higher School Entrance Examination. Not only did she score full marks in English, but she also scored high marks in other subjects as well. The post was titled, Shi Yao Passes Band 4 English Test in the First Semester of University, and it contained Shi Yao's results in the National College Entrance Examination. Other than these trending posts, there were also many posts related to Shi Yao. For example, there were posts saying that she had clinched first place in Ji University's English oral competition and top 3 in Ji University's debate competition, and that she had written a short story that was serialized in a magazine. There was even someone who made a summary of the post related to Shi Yao on the forum. The post was titled, This is a True Goddess, a goddess who can symbolize Ji University's campus bell. And under this post, the replies were surprisingly consistent. They either knelt down, said that he could obviously rely on his looks to make a living, yet he was shockingly talented, or said that he was too handsome, that he wasn't a human, that he was a god that didn't need a man. In short, almost all of them were praising him. Of course, due to the conflict between Shi Yao and Qiniran on the forum, there were quite a few people who mentioned Qiniran as well. It was either that Shi Yao and Qiniran were the campus belle and a joke, or that Qiniran wanted to compete with Shi Yao. If I were Lin Jiej, I would also choose Shi Yao over Shi Yao, or that Qiniran was simply too cowardly, not even managing to finish the 10 kilometers marathon. If one were to say that Shi Yao's name was filled with admiration and praise, Qiniran's name was filled with ridicule and disdain. The ones who were the most excited when they saw the comments on the forum were none other than Shi Yao's 3 roommates. Zhang Yu. How exhilarating. Qiniran shot herself in the foot this time. She went for wool and came home shorn. She ended up working for someone else. She suffered a double loss. He Tiandian. Serves her right. If she hadn't been up to no good, would she have ended up like this? She doesn't deserve any sympathy at all, right, Nuanyuan? Lung Nuan, who was reading a book, nodded her head in agreement. Using a phrase from television dramas, a slut is a hypocrite. Nuanyuan's words are really incisive. Zhang Yu nodded vigorously. Then, she turned to Shi Yao and asked, Yao Yao, do you feel happy? Shi Yao didn't try to hide anything, so she replied frankly, of course I do. Then, the second after she said that, she seemed to have thought of something and looked at her 3 roommates happily. I've thought about it. I want yogurt tomorrow morning, milk tea tomorrow afternoon, and potato chips tomorrow night. He 111 Yao 2 Yao, 1 2, 6, 111311, 1 Lung, 113 Lung 11. Seeing that the 3 of them weren't saying a word, Shi Yao asked anxiously, it can't be that you intend to renege on your debt, right? Yao teacher 3 1, 1 2 2, 1 Yao 2 student, 2 4 and that 2 2 2. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.